Happy Saturday. The last Saturday before we get absolutely fucked out of an hour because of daylight savings. Spring forward, screw you. That's what I say. Out of all the days of the year, there are certain days I just dread annually. This is one of them. Yeah, 2 a.m. Pacific time, Eastern Standard Time, wherever the hell you are, I guess, you're going to get screwed out of a hard earned hour. And they're going to keep it for 6 months. Unless Congress overturns daylight savings, which is, you know what? I don't care what other laws you pass this year. All right. Don't care what you legalize. Don't care what you do. Get rid of daylight savings once and for all. All right. And do it in October. So when we fall back, we don't go forward again with this madness. All right. I live in a city that is broiling on a daily basis. I don't need another hour or two of sunlight. We can save that daylight for someone else. So, yeah, I'm going to be in a very, very, very sour mood tonight because as soon as I get off the show, pretty much, I step outside and I'm fucked out of an hour. Yay. Also, if the internet goes in and out, that's because as our usual service provider, by the way, this is an anti-commercial for Cox Communications. You suck. So if I lose internet, it's an antiquated system in my part of town. Other than that, hey, as you can kind of see, I'm not wearing my usual camouflage hat, and I'm not wearing my usual Shazam shirt. However, I am wearing a Shazam shirt because, listen, full disclosure, I think Shazam is going to struggle at the box office. It has nothing to do with the movie itself. I think the previous regime of Warner Brothers and current things have just put it in bad circumstances, much like the first one was. I enjoyed the first one, and I've heard from people who have seen bits and pieces of Fury of the Gods. They say that if you enjoyed the first one, you're going to enjoy this one. I wish that it was in a better situation. I wish there was a Superman or a Batman connected movie going before and after it. I wish that these movies like Black Adam and Shazam didn't have to carry the entire load of DC, being that they are not top tier characters. But unfortunately, it is what it is. So I'm fully repping, and yes, I know I look ridiculous, but that's what I do. These Shazam hats that we were giving away, along with the tickets that we were giving away to the screening this Wednesday, I am repping my Shazam Fury of the Gods water bottle. Although I live in the desert, this will go in 2 seconds, but it's cool to have. I am repping our giant posters, 36 by 43 posters. If you look at our Instagram, you'll see people. I've been giving these out all day. I've been giving T-shirts, hats, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, phone chargers, wireless phone chargers. So, despite the fact that I am fully recognizing that this movie is going to have a hard time making a decent dollar, I'm doing my best to make sure that it makes something because I think it deserves to make more money than it probably will make. I thought the original Shazam was a better movie than its box office represented. And sometimes that's just how it is. And then you look at some of the crappy superhero movies that are mediocre, all the Thor movies, and they make $700-800 million. So sometimes good movies don't make good money, and sometimes bad movies make good money. Captain Marvel. So, but like I said, I am all in. And if I go see Shazam on Wednesday, the 15th, when I go see our pre-screening, and it's a really good movie, I'm gonna do this exactly like I did the first time. I put on that shirt the very first time for Shazam, the original movie, 5 years ago, and I've worn that shirt ever since. That's how I feel about that movie. So let's go ahead and say hi to the chat a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and there we go. Wow, we're starting out with the questions already. Could you easily see James Gunn have it where Sasha Calle becomes a fan favorite? We'll see her again as Power Girl. I don't think you'll ever see her as Power Girl, but I could be wrong. That the world she belonged in, the Flash film, is destroyed. I don't know because I don't know the full origin of her Supergirl. Is she a relative of Henry Cavill's Superman, or is she just? I mean, I know the name is familiar, but I don't know her backstory. Does the Flash reset the universe to where she doesn't exist anymore? Or is James Gunn setting up an Elseworld? If he's a fan favorite, like I say, with everything that's going on with this entire universe, if the Flash and Aquaman make good money, who knows? And it's the same thing with Shazam. Sandberg's basically putting out and saying, if you go see this movie, there may be more. So everything that we've had thrown at us is not set in stone. This is our shot, really, with these next movies to show these guys that these things that came before still have brand name loyalty and still have value. So, and it goes with Supergirl. If she gets a good response after the Flash, never say never. All right, so let me go ahead and bring in truck driver. It sounds like you got a truck in the back.
What's up?
There, you sitting next to an air conditioner?
Yeah, I've got my air on. It's hot. It's hot tonight, so.
Yeah, that's a problem I've been having at the house, and I'm trying to make it so because I know it's coming. So when I stream from the house, I don't have that swamp core blowing into the microphone. So I got a couple of tricks up my sleeve that I'm going to test out here in the next couple of days because, like I said, I'm going to be streaming a lot from the house after April, after we get the new studio set up. So
yeah.
All right. What do you think about this question? Now just came up.
If she does good, I would love to see her again, but again, I don't think so. Ultimately, I think we're going to see a new Supergirl.
Yeah, and I don't, like I said, especially with him announcing a Supergirl, I doubt it's going to be this one. I think he's going to go with the traditional blonde-haired, blue-eyed Supergirl.
Yeah.
All right, a match credit scene where the Flash and Kara are drifting is revived by the sun. Looks around and rips the S from her chest and heads towards the DCU. I mean, it could happen, but I doubt it. I mean, I don't know if we're in the whole Power Girl conversation yet. I mean, you could do it because basically what Power Girl was, I mean, you could do all that Justice Society stuff, Earth 1 or 2. I got to see a little bit more from him, though, what he's going to commit to. I don't have enough information. If he starts talking like he's talking different universes and stuff like that, then anything's up for grabs. So I'd have to wait. It would be cool to see. And the post-credit scenes of these next few movies heading into his universe are going to be critical. I hope they've handled them well. All right, okay. My man is just out of his mind from head to toe. Love it. Yeah. Like I said, they really hooked us up. I wasn't expecting to get as much as we got because of we weren't hearing anything about. Let me show you something else we got. We weren't hearing a lot about what we're going to be getting for this movie. I mean, we got like no information. But one of the cooler things we got, by the way, allergies. The wind is blowing and killing my nasal system. Jim Lee cover. This is a pretty thick book too, by the way. It's one of those 100 pages or 80 pages. This is a Shazam Fury of the Gods special. It's actually got a $10 value, but we were giving them they sent them to us to give away. Oh. And this is hilarious on the back for all you Fast and Furious people. So I am like I said, I understand the realities of what Shazam is, and I've seen what it is projected to come in as, but I don't think that's a fault of David Sandberg and the people who put this movie together. I just wish it was coming out in a better situation. I wish that the major IPs like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman hadn't been mishandled the last 5 years. Had that been the case, I think we would have. You could have put any of these movies out, and they would have done well. I think you could have even put Black Adam out, and it would have done a good number, simply because it would have been. Like I said, a rising tide lifts all ships, and Black Adam and Shazam are those ships that get risen. But because like I said, just look at Captain Marvel. That was a mediocre at best movie. It made $1 billion because where it was placed in their universe and how it was released. So there's no reason why Shazam and Black Adam and these other movies that are C characters couldn't have thrived on that atmosphere. It's just they just didn't take advantage of it. So, how you doing, Chappie? So some of the things we're going to discuss today, I've already discussed, as you can see on the thumbnail, the ripoff that is daylight savings. We were discussing Shazam right now, and then later on, depending on how the show flows, I did not get a chance to do my Star Trek show yesterday because we were slammed here. I had both the John Wick promo ending as the Shazam promo began. So we were handing out, the John Wick T-shirts and the coins. And as soon as those were done with, we opened up another box. And at 2 p.m. we started the Shazam one, and that went all day. If you check out our Instagram and our Facebooks and our Twitter pages, you'll see all the pictures of the people who were coming in and getting their stuff. So I was nailed to that all day and didn't have a chance to get through. So we will talk some Star Trek Picard episode 4, which was another great episode. I'm right now at the end of the series, or close to the end of the series. I actually have one of the writers on the that writes the show that is committed to coming on later on. And I've known this person before he got this gig, so I was already hooked up with him. So yeah, I cannot, and I tell him every time. I message him every time I end an episode. I'm like, I didn't want that episode to end. And that is, I did not think I would like Picard as much because the first 2 seasons of Picard were just, they're all right. And I didn't think I would be going for the nostalgia. That is, I'm not a nostalgic guy. I look forward, not backwards. But they've done a great job of making the present relevant. It's not just, using old memories. They're using cliches. They're using, a lot of the nerve points that make up Star Trek, but they're doing it in a way that I quite enjoyed it. And episode 4 was great. Episode 4 was great. Like I said, we still haven't been we still haven't been introduced to Lore. We know Lore is there. We know Geordi is there. So we got 6 episodes left of those guys. We got to see Deanna again. And I like the dynamic between Picard and Riker. I didn't think I would like it. I thought it was just going to be a bunch of old guys, it was going to be an odd couple and all that. But no, they're dynamic. And some of the stuff that they've gone through off screen that we haven't seen for the last 20 some odd years, like his kid dying, we knew about that last time, but his kid dying actually plays a bigger role in this series, in this episode, because of Jack Crusher and the time, he thinks Picard should value his son, even while the ship is basically being destroyed. And they're basically having to pull some method out of their ass to get out of the situation that they're in. And they've got hours left to survive. He's telling him to go talk to your son. Spend these last moments with him. And I thought it was, like I said, I'm not a human interest guy, but I'm interested in these particular humans. So I was good there. What did you think about the episode, Dave? Did you have a chance to watch it?
Oh, man, it was amazing. Another good episode. Another worthwhile episode. Couple of people out there are calling it a filler episode. I don't see that it's filler.
Oh no. Filler episodes, you can feel when you're watching a show, you can feel when you're having to trudge through it. You're enjoying the episode. None of these so far. Not any of the 4 episodes, at least in my opinion. Everybody else is different, but in my opinion, I didn't want these episodes to end. Yeah. When we rolled up, I was like, I just need 3 more minutes of this episode and I'll be all right. And so no, this wasn't a filler episode. In my opinion, everything in this episode mattered. You've got to the changeling. You figured that out. They got it out of that situation that they were in. You realize that Vadic is working for somebody else. Who I think it's Lore. But that whole thing she did with her arm was disgusting. I don't know what the hell was that. She cuts off her arm and starts talking. It forms a face, and whoever that face is her boss.
Stella was saying that Terry Matalas said that they're all changelings.
Yeah, he tweeted out that because someone asked him about that. Why did Vadic have to cut off her hand? He's like, nothing special. She's a changeling along with the rest of the crew. So we shall see.
Even those, okay, because her crew would look like some other different type of aliens, but okay.
Well, they're using different forms. That's all that I guess that they favor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Belle!
Go ahead.
No, just saying hi to Belle.
Hi, Belle. I watched your stream a couple hours ago. I stopped by and you were just putting on your makeup. So I figured you were just going out on the town or something like that. Belle's the only person that can just do normal stuff and have people watching. You guys wouldn't watch me do anything, would you? Wouldn't watch me shave or make top ramen, would you? Would you? Maybe I should do it. Maybe I should just have a stream where I'm just doing William stuff.
Hey, remember, Enosh did some stuff cooking, so why not just have a chat while you're doing stuff?
Just do a William stream.
Keep putting the microwave, putting the ramen in the microwave because I don't boil it. Bologna, everything is microwavable. By the way, my creed is if it's not microwavable, it's not edible. Thanksgiving turkey going in there, baby. It's going in there, and now they make those big ovens too, so I don't have to use the rubber mallet to get the turkey in. I can just slide it in and hit the potato button twice.
Yeah, Phil and I will watch.
Yeah, we're gonna do a Thanksgiving. We're gonna do a Thanksgiving stream where you guys watch me put the turkey in there. Hey, and you know what? An hour on the potato button, that turkey's done. Now there's this stuff in the middle of it. There's like bags of stuff. Am I supposed to take that out before I cook it?
Yeah.
I'm not dead. So anybody who says that's not the right answer, I'm still here. It's been November.
William.
William.
All right. So one of the other topics I was going to touch on at some point during the show is I got into not an argument but a discussion with today with because someone purchased some Blade Runner comics, and I'm like, listen, guys, Deckard is a replicant. All right, let's end this nonsense right now. Rick Deckard is a replicant. That's it. All right. The sky is blue. Earth goes around the sun. Deckard is a replicant. That's it. Yeah, and you know what? It kind of sucks because it's really hard to get out of the oven because you have to dent the oven to get it in there because it's like frozen. You know what? So,
have you ever fried a turkey before, William? Gotten the big fryer?
No, because I don't have a death wish. I've seen people, because people are dumb. They put the frozen ones right in there, right, and it shoots the shit right out of the damn thing like a cannon. We did that overseas one time. We went out to the field and we were just messing around. We had a crap load of turkeys because we were feeding like an entire division, it seemed like, and we had one left over and we had the turkey fire and we knew what was going to happen. We froze it and we put it on the artillery range, right, and we aimed it. We let it shoot out there. It'll because we had a hard thing so it wouldn't blow it up. It would actually shoot the turkey out, and it shot that turkey like we had to walk several hundred feet to get that. Oh no, Sinead, we're just bullshitting about being ripped off of that hour. I'm good. Like I said, I'm going to carry this anger with me about daylight savings for the next 6 months. All right, I don't care how happy I get during these next 6 months. I'm going to be like, you know what, I got fucked out of an hour on March 12th. Really would like that hour back, and I'm not going to be happy until October when I get it back.
Yeah, none of us are.
All right,
and just so you know, we're caught up on the chat.
All right, guys. So, I talked last night about this whole spoiler thing when it comes to Shazam. I guess it's out now. It's not even a spoiler. I saw the commercial. Wonder Woman's in the movie. That's not even a spoiler. As I said last night, and I said a couple of weeks ago, that wasn't a spoiler, guys. That's not something they hid. If they were trying to hide it, they did a horrible job. How you doing, Hal?
How you doing,
I mean,
Hal?
people are like, don't watch the internet or don't get on the internet. I'm like, okay.
Hi, Hal.
Wonder Woman, it's called Shazam, Fury of the Gods. It makes sense, and nothing about knowing that Wonder Woman's in that movie spoils the movie. The movie's not about her, and I'm pretty sure it's a cameo. You know, but it's significant, it's cool, and it brings the question, hey, are we going to be using that particular Wonder Woman in the future? If I'm him, I use her. You know, so because I still think there's at least one a good Wonder Woman movie ahead of her. No, he never said that. And Ridley Scott, see, people, he said some things, but look at Ridley Scott's actions. No matter what Ridley Scott had said at some point, his actions, when he does his director's cut, when he does his international cut, and his work print cut, there's a reason why that unicorn is in there. Gaff knows he's a replicant. All right, he knows that Rachel's a replicant. But what he didn't know is that they didn't have limited lifetimes. Both Deckard and Rachel were prototypes. They were prototypes. Deckard was the prototype of what K would be in 2049. He was the first stage, and by 2049, replicants or cops are openly replicants. They're no longer hiding. Officer K is a replicant. Deckard was the first step of that. All right. Rachel was designed to reproduce, and that's why Wallace wanted her so bad, because as much as he cannot create replicants quicker than if he created enough of them and had them reproduce. So no, Deckard is a replicant. And like I said, otherwise, why would they have him dream of the unicorn? And the whole point of Blade Runner is the memories that they had. They all knew that their memories weren't real. All right. And remember the question that Deckard asked, how does it not know what it is, when he was talking about Rachel? All right, he didn't know what he was. He's a prototype. Daft knew who he was. Braddock knew who he was, knew what he was, but Deckard didn't. He was a test. Both of them were tests. But they both, if they would have known Deckard had an unlimited lifespan, it's the same as Rachel, they would have been killed right there in improv. But like I said, the reason why you have Officer K doing it as a replicant is because the human cops having to do that, basically being trained killers, it played on their psyche. They weren't going to be effective. A replicant can be ordered to do something, even subliminally. Even if Deckard didn't know what he was, he's pre-programmed to do what he does, and he doesn't have that emotion. He can hunt them down because he is one. So yeah, Deckard's a replicant, guys. Deckard's a replicant. All right, next one. Let's see. Are we caught up?
What's up,
all right, but yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, we're caught up.
Okay. Yeah, if you watch the director's cut, which is Ridley Scott's cut, and if you watch the international cut, like I said, you see him dreaming of that unicorn, and you see Gaff make that origami of that unicorn but leaves it there. All right, he's basically he left Rachel alive because, like he said in like Deckard said, he figured she only had 4 years. Why kill her? And he figured the same thing about Deckard. He was letting Deckard know that he knew what he was. He was letting Deckard know to know what he was. That's why when he picked it up like that and he looked at it, that's why. So yeah, it's Deckard is a replicant. What else did I have to go over? Yeah, we're gonna talk. Like I said, Shazam: Fear of the Gods. I'm going to go see that on Wednesday. 6:15. We'll be going to see it. I have high hopes. Wonder Woman being in it is cool. Hey, listen, Hate Nate, you just can't come in and say hi to Dave and not say hi to me. Okay, there you go.
What's
about
up,
to say,
Nate?
time him out. What else in movies? I was going to go see John Wick, but I can't do both days away from the store like that. So let me show you some of the stuff I got for John Wick. It's kind of cool. All right, so like I said, it's been a busy week to promote stuff. 2 movies coming out. That's another thing I think. When did John Wick come out? Does John Wick come out this the same Friday as
Wait.
is
I think it's the week after, like on the 24th or something like that.
Okay, so yeah, that's good. Well, that's gonna hurt Shazam one way or another because it's gonna hurt its second week or its first week. But so here you go.
Looks like it's releasing on the 24th.
Okay, so whatever money Shazam's gonna make is probably that has to be its first week then. So here's John Wick. Here's his tie. See, kind of cute what they did here. And then it's John Wick on the back, Chapter 4. All right, and then what we have is this is an emblem from the movie. There you go.
That's cool.
And the coin. There's John Wick's picture, and then there's the coins from the film.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
we've been handing that kind of stuff out today. So yeah. So like I said, I think whatever Shazam makes is going to be on its first week. It's going to be on its first week, and that is unfortunate because, like I said, I wish it was a better situation to for these movies to come out in. So all right, regardless the movie itself is good or not, you guys think Shazam 2 will bomb? I don't think it'll bomb. I don't think it's going to make a lot of money.
It's got a lot of competition right now, so
yeah, you have John Wick happening a week afterwards, so that's gonna hurt its. Depending on if the John Wick audience is the same, I'm sending people to both, but those people are going to both simply because I'm furnishing them to go. So we could have would the average person that goes to a superhero movie, do they still go to a John Wick movie? I'll do that on my survey when I ask them, and I'll be like, "Are you guys planning on going to both? Would you guys, would you guys be interested in both, even if I had given you seats to it?" So that's going to be a big thing because if they're already going to go to both, then maybe the drop won't be so bad. But it's just a fact that what else comes out this week? Can you guys pull up what other? Is there anything else big coming out this March 17th?
hold on.
Because like I said, it's more than likely going to have to front load its dollars. But word of mouth might help it as well.
We're caught up on the chat.
Okay, cool.
Movies coming out on March 17th. 65 is out.
What's that? What game you cut out? What
65 is already out.
That's already out.
Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
There you go.
It doesn't look like anything big coming out the same day as Shazam,
so it could have legs until John Wick comes out, and then again, John Wick doesn't. Those movies make a profit, but they're not like a blockbuster profit. They spend like $100 million or less to make any of these movies, so you could have a situation where Shazam, while a word of mouth could go. Looking at an action-packed March release month, I think Shazam will rake in 375. But yeah, that's a good guess. Which will still make it profitable. It's just not going to make. It's making Shazam money. It was.
Yeah, it doesn't have a whole lot of reason, but the second week is going to be done.
Yeah, it's So, like I said, if this is coming off of, or coming ahead of a Superman movie, like coming out later on this year, or coming off the heels of a Batman movie, a connected Batman movie, not the Batman, but a connected Batman movie, and people got to understand, and I've said this over and over again, knock this. You shouldn't worry about it whether it's connected or not. That's bullshit. All right. For the last 14 years, the movie-going fan has been conditioned, for the most part, to a connected universe. Even larger than that, for the past 85 years, the comic book way of telling stories has been a connected universe. DC created the connected universe. So if movies and studios could have had the resources and wherewithal to do this back in the 70s, we would have had shared universes then, but they didn't. All right, Marvel did it in 2008, but like I said, that was because Marvel had the means to at the time to do it, and they took a risk doing it. But you can't blame people And like I said, as much as I am rooting for Shazam to do well, as much as I'm repping it for do well, look at what I'm dressed up at today. You cannot blame a fan who has bought into a connected and shared universe for being apprehensive to go see a movie when all this upheaval is happening with DC. And be honest with you, the current management really hasn't done a lot to endear you to these movies and make them feel like, something more than leftovers. Now, with the exception of The Flash, because of the nature of what The Flash's story can do for this next universe. But if you bought into the shared universe that you've been watching for the past 8 or 9 years, I can't make the strongest argument other than when, I like the first one. I'll go see the second one. So, like I said, but if you're apprehensive about it, I understand. Any possibility Zoe Saldana as Lois Lane? I haven't heard anything, but
I don't think that they'll change it up like that. But who knows?
All right. Do you think it'll be more profitable than the Marvels? No.
No.
Well, as far as percentage goes, but the Marvels, they're spending a lot more money. Shazam is a $125 million movie. I'm pretty sure. What is the Marvels budget? Is that something that they've released?
Hold on.
Because generally,
140 million.
Okay, so it's 140 million, but its profit margin might be a little bit higher because it is mixed in with it's got an entire strong universe behind it. William, if they remember when director David Ayer at Suicide Squad premiere said that Marvel, which was pretty said F Marvel for F Marvel, which was pretty funny, and then he apologized after because he got many people mad at him. Yeah, because back then we still had the whole tribal, infantile, Marvel versus DC pig heads that were ruining the culture, in my opinion. Half of those guys weren't going to see the movie. Hold on for a second. I got to make sure that we're up on internet. All right. Yeah, you had a lot of guys that were shitting on movies like BVS or anything that DC was doing, but they were never going to go see the movie. So, whenever you went after Marvel, you had those kind of clowns going after people. So he probably got like death threats or something. So I wouldn't be surprised. Hold on, I gotta fix this.
What's up, Aaron? How you doing?
Hi, Aaron. All right. Oh, come on. Whatever. Okay, so yeah, I'm having internet issues on my other computer.
Yeah, we're caught up.
Slow night tonight. I wonder if everybody is just locking themselves in a house, just waiting for that hour to be snatched away from them. I know I was hesitant about going on tonight, but mainly because I'm tired and my allergies are like drying up everything else, and talking, it turns out, is like one of the worst things you could do when you have allergy issues. Now I can't see. All right, I think the villain choices of Shazam killed the movie. Who wants to see Shazam fight Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren? I would have gone with the direct continuation of what they were doing in the first one. I would have had him fight Mr. Mind. Hold on, let me get that. Yeah, I would have had him fight Mr. Mind. Am I pixelating again?
No, you're good.
No, okay, I look good. All right, look as good as I can, looking like this. But no, I would have had them fight Mr. Mind. I mean, they showed him in the movie, and then they showed that he escaped. Mr. Mind is one of Shazam's most powerful enemies. He's one of his most legendary enemies. And all phases and all iterations of Shazam have had him fighting, Mr. Mind. People are like, well, he should have fought Black Adam. Why? 2C characters meeting, what's that going to do? 2C characters meeting are still a C movie. It's still not going to get people to come out. Now, Shazam versus Superman, yeah. Black Adam versus Superman, yeah. But Black Adam versus Shazam, no. It would. I don't see how that would have helped. But Mr. Mind would, because he's the perfect villain for him. So it would have been better for the story. All you would have been doing, I mean, having Black Adam fight the Shazam family, I mean, I really wasn't going to do anything for me. But yeah, the villains, I agree with you, Forrest. The villains for this movie probably aren't the most spectacular villains you could have. But neither was Dr. Sylvana. But once again, anything that you attach to Shazam or Black Adam is not going to be. Hold on for a second. Is not going to be a mainline attractive enemy. I'm going to remove myself while I take care of my allergies here, guys. Take over, Faith.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably just a cameo there, Monkey Jeebus, the Wonder Woman thing for the Shazam. What's up, Shree? How you doing? Questions, salutations, anything, anybody? While we wait for William to come back?
Yeah, we're caught up. I knew since he didn't post to Point Extra Lounge, might be light on audience tonight.
So. Look at this. William and Thade. I know we talk about boycotting and how it's stupid, but the only boycott that actually worked was with Solo movie, because you had diehard fans that were pissed off at The Last Jedi. And that was a stupid thing to have happen, to be honest.
Yeah, the Solo boycott was dumb. That actually made Star Wars fans look stupid. Star Wars fans have done a real good job of making themselves look as dumb as Star Trek fans, or some Star Trek fans have been lately. So, I am on Point Extra Lounge. It was just a delayed. I actually put us on Point Extra Lounge, and it kicked me out. So, all right, William and Thade, what's one film that should have been nominated for Best Picture this year? Warrior Queen. Warrior Queen got snuffed. Got shut out. I don't think he got nominated. I don't think Viola Davis got nominated for Best Actress. I don't think the movie got nominated for anything, if I'm not correct. So yeah, that one. Did you have one, Thade?
I can't really think of one, to be honest.
I mean, Top Gun got nominated, which was like I said, I was cool with it, but I was thinking that was gotten shut out. I don't think it's going to win, but it's still cool that it got nominated. I mean, because that was actually a pretty good movie. What is wrong with that? All my equipment is acting crazy. All right. Well, I have a screen where I can see me on. Now I can't see me at all. So, yeah. See, that should have been nominated. So, I think I don't know why that didn't get nominated. So,
I can't really
I said Warrior King. I said Warrior.
Usually it means the production company didn't push for it hard enough. That's when you buy out all the ads and the trades, and you buy up commercial time to remind your voting community that, hi, this is up for your purview. Please nominate us.
Yeah, for your consideration, because I know when Blade Runner 2049 came out, even though that movie lost money, they were happy with the 2 Oscars it won. That's why. See, sometimes a movie can lose money and still have momentum, because Blade Runner 2049 ended up making money on physical media, and a lot of people have seen Blade Runner 2049 in the last 5-6 years. And not only did it get a cartoon, in an age where animation is not doing well, Blade Runner got a 14-episode cartoon, and it's got another series coming. So, all right, question: what are your thoughts on Batfleck being in the blue and gray suit in the Flash? Actually, looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think there's a Frank Miller version of him in the blue and gray, so I don't mind it at all.
It looks good to me.
So yeah, I'm okay with it. I think the anachronisms in Woman King hurt the movie, making it generic. It had the guys tell an actual story that would have been something. Yeah, I mean, I guess accuracy, but see, I don't know if accuracy counts for Oscar, but I guess maybe this time around.
We are caught up.
All right, cool. Let's see. We're still waiting on your guest, Ethan.
Yeah. I'm thinking he'll probably show up in the next 15, 20. If he doesn't this time, then I'm going to have to get back with him. But he said he'd be here tonight, so.
Okay, cool. So like I said, I think ooh, wow. All kinds of issues. Hold on for a second.
So do you guys think about Jenna Ortega saying that you're looking up to the horror? That they are looking up to the horror aspect and then get Wednesday out of the romantic situation for Wednesday season 2? I don't know. I hear that she had a problem with some of the writers on the show.
I would this aspect of that really did it for me. So I'm okay with that. I didn't think I'd enjoy that show because I haven't enjoyed Tim Burton in quite a while.
Yeah.
So let's see. Hold on here. All right.
Frank Miller Blue and Gray was Dark Knight Returns #2 for the Two-Face confrontation. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's on the cover. I think I have that cover somewhere. So yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, seems to be fun.
Yes, I'm having a horrible time with allergies today. So yeah. Question: imagine did JSA do appearances there too? Maybe gave them a wiggle room to spoil Wonder Woman early. Well, Wonder Woman wasn't really a spoiler. I don't, it just makes sense that she's in the movie, and being in the movie doesn't spoil anything.
If they put it in the commercial, it's not a spoiler.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that's just me. All right, go ahead and read that one thing.
I really liked Solo, and it did not deserve to bomb at the box office. I honestly blame Star Wars fans for why it didn't do so well, just with this whole stupid boycott because of The Last Jedi. Solo... The thing about Solo is Solo got gutted because of Last Jedi. It's actually not a bad movie. Too many people call it a bad movie, and I don't think it is.
Issues. Yeah, I didn't think Solo was the worst movie in the world. I think Star Wars fanboys just overreacted.
Yeah, that's really all it was.
They weren't given their pure nostalgia Skywalker blanket, and they turned it backwards. That's what I think. Just like Old Trek fan. Old Trek fan does the same thing. Does the same shit.
What you need to do, Daniel Martin, is actually go see her in like X, and she's really good in X. She's gonna be in Maxine, which is the sequel to X. Jenna Ortega is doing really good here lately.
I'm tired of that dance, though.
Huh?
I'm tired of Wednesday dance, though. The Wednesday dance is everywhere. I mean, it's like,
yeah.
Good Lord. Every time I go on my Instagram, that's somebody from some part of the world is doing that dance. They're even doing it on Saturday Night Live tonight. So it's like, oh,
next question, down Stella. You guys excited for Across the Spider-Verse? I am.
Yes, it's one of my most anticipated movies of the year. And
did you guys watch the TMNT Mutant Mayhem trailer? Yes, I did, and no, I'm not going to watch the show, but it's not because I hate the idea of what's going on with the April O'Neil thing. It's just, it's a kid's show, and it's not for me.
And I've never been into Ninja Turtles at all, so.
And I think that the whole controversy over April O'Neil is freaking stupid. And I've
what was it? They made her black.
Yeah. There's been this whole controversy. People don't believe that she was dark. She was a light-skinned dark woman in the original comics and stuff, and she was. Certain wannabe comic book writers have said that they debunked that situation, and I'm like, actually, no, it depends on who you talk to. Eastman said it was true, Laird said it wasn't, so...
Oh, okay, that's 50-50. That's a toss-up, then. The two guys.
Yeah, and I'm just like, she was based on Kevin Eastman's wife at the time, April Fisher, and April Fisher was a light-skinned black woman passing for white, and but Laird always wanted April O'Neil to be white, so it's really, like you said, it's been a toss-up the whole time, and certain people are saying, oh no, we debunked the fact that she was black. No, you didn't debunk shit. It was two creators who couldn't decide what they wanted, you know?
And even still, does it apply? Does her ethnicity alter her story one way or another?
Not really. It doesn't matter. And that's the thing. People get mad about the wrong things. It's because they've made her a 13-year-old girl, chubby black girl. And I'm like, okay, so she was a black girl in one of the other series too. So what does it matter?
Yeah, you guys do realize this shit's fake, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. This is exactly. This era of Star Wars is giving me all this fill-in material in between Return of the Jedi and now that I didn't ask for it. I didn't care. I don't care how Boba Fett got out of the Sarlacc pit. He got out. Right? He's exactly right there.
Yeah. But I am enjoying the current season of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, but see, once I'm done with Mandalorian, I'm not watching Ahsoka. I'm not watching any of that other stuff. Hold on.
Oh, I'm going to watch Ahsoka, but what I'm looking forward to is The Acolyte because it takes place in a different time period.
When does Acolyte take place?
High Republic era.
What, 200 years before?
300-ish.
I wish they'd go back further. Was it Fisher? I think so.
She was she was white and African American. She wasn't Latina.
Hold on. Man, trying to get text.
Yeah, we're caught up.
It's been a slow news week, really. If you look at it.
It's been nothing but hey, what's up, Larry? How you doing, buddy? It's been nothing but like drama from the same freaking people.
Yeah, I pretty much moved away from all that. Yeah, because it just wasn't great, any good content. The old Republic is what I want. If we're going to go back, let's go all the way back. Let's go 4,000 years back. You know what I mean? That's me. I want to see Exar Kun. I want to see Eula Quotama. I want to see Phelan Ad. I want to see those characters. So that's where I'm at. Ooh, just blew my ears out. Woo. I can't even watch Ahsoka. Rosario doesn't. I don't know. She's still kind of hot with her little, what are those things?
I don't know. Rosario doesn't look like she's doing too bad.
Pushing 40.
For the fact that she's orange, she's fine in my opinion.
Yeah. If you lived in that galaxy, she'd probably be hot. All right, I see your guest has come in. I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce him.
Oh, there he is. Okay. All right. Hey, how you doing, Mr. DeSanti? How you doing?
Good. Thanks for
It's
having
Libby
me,
from
guys.
Motorhead.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So yeah, how you been, man? How's the movie going?
It's been going great. We're in pre-production right now. I'm currently in Thousand Oaks, California, staying at a friend's house. We're
Go ahead and introduce who you are. And
Go ahead and introduce yourself and what you do, brother. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Vincent DeSanti. I'm a film director. I'm in the middle of making a film right now called Never Hike Alone 2, based on the film that we released in it's a sequel to the film we released in 2017 called Never Hike Alone, which is a Friday the 13th fan film. For you who don't know about fan films are basically recreations of professional quality franchises. Like you see a lot of Star Wars fan films and Star Trek fan films. Well, I make a lot of Friday the 13th fan films, and that's who I am.
Yeah. So you were able now. Tell me if I'm wrong here. You were able to get one of the original guys who played Tommy Jarvis to do your fan film, right?
That's correct. I got it by the name of Tom Matthews.
He's the one that did him in 6, right?
Yeah, Friday the 13th, Part 6. Yeah, he's also in Return to the Living Dead is another role that he's very well known for.
Well, that's pretty cool that you actually got Tom Matthews on there, man. He's a pretty cool actor.
Yeah, Tom was actually a big hero of mine growing up. I was hoping to one day work with Tom as like a childhood dream, really kind of getting into the industry, and I never really thought about it when I got out here. And in the process of Never Hike Alone, our original executive producer, Barry J., ended up putting us in touch with Tom, which was like a dream come true, and we asked him to do a cameo in the film. At the time in 2017, when we signed Tom, we didn't tell anybody that we did. We didn't use his name to promote. We didn't try to because he's only in the movie, in the first one, for about 5 minutes. So we didn't want to try to use his name and sell it and then sell everybody that it's this Tom film and then nothing really happens with him. But what was great was that fans turned in to watch our film. They were hopefully impressed with it by the time they got to the end of it. And then at the end of it, Tom would show up and it sent everybody over the moon. There hadn't been a Friday the 13th film since 2009. There'd been 3 or 4 other films that are canceled. They even canceled the film that was supposed to come out in 2017. So I think for fans to see Tom come back and act in a movie was a really big deal to a lot of people. And it sort of kicked off this, I would say, wave of fan film that we've got in the last, 5-6 years, because fans started to see that there was, not only was there a market for it, but there was interest in alumni to come back and help. So a lot of different fan films have sort of popped up just like it ever since.
Yeah. So what got you into fan films, just in general?
Well, it was never really sort of pursuing or ever think that I would get into fan films. Really what it was when I moved to LA in 2008. I'm originally from Massachusetts, out here. And I just wanted to work on a Friday the 13th film. That was it. I mean, I was just so desperate to work on some sort of Friday the 13th project that I thought, you know what, it's probably never going to happen. They keep canceling the films. I'm working in animation. I'm not really tied into that world. It might be nice to sort of maybe just do it by myself. I'll just make a 20-minute, a 5-minute film or a 20-minute film and sort of come around these ideas. And Never Hike Alone just sort of grew out of necessity. We ended up finding an abandoned camp early on in the process of making the film. And when we found that camp, we sort of had this idea to really expand the film out. And as we kept going up to this camp and filming more scenes, it kept getting longer and longer. And it started generating more and more buzz. And then before you know it, we got Tom Matthews in the film and nobody really knows about it. And we weren't really realizing at the time, but we were really doing something that had only been done, previous on camcorders, something that, that doesn't really have the cinematic look that people were going into their backyards and shooting with their home video cameras, and it didn't look like a very cinematic film, but we were able to take the technology from 2017 with mirrorless cameras and things that were cinematic, shot in 4K, could give us the things that we needed to make it look like a cinematic film, and surprise audiences that way, to show show fans that not only for fan films, that you could be cinematic and make it look like a movie, but just independent cinema in general, which often can struggle to reach that sort of level of production value that we recognize as, okay, this is professional. I understand why this is streaming on a streaming service or something like that, versus something that's oh, this is somebody's friend's movie who, okay, I'll watch this thing for them, but I can see sort of what the level of it was. So we really just sort of prided ourselves on doing that. We never really thought about the fan film side of it, and it wasn't until we had success with Never Hike Alone itself that we were oh, there's something here. But again, all I ever wanted to do was work on a Friday the 13th film. All of a sudden I had a partnership with Tom Matthews. That grew into a partnership with Vinny Guastafaro, who also was in Friday the 13th Part 6, who plays Deputy Rick Cologne. We brought him back to play the sheriff. We've had other alumni Deb Voorhees has helped us out. Tracy Savage has helped us out. Ron Sloan has helped us out. Cindy Kanai. Lots of other people that I've met through different projects has really come together. So for somebody who was a fan of Friday the 13th, spoiled since the release of Never Hike Alone, because we were able to. I've been able to meet so many Friday the 13th alumni. They've offered to help in the films. We're actually going to be announcing another alumni that's going to be in Never Hike Alone 2 in the upcoming weeks. So it's really cool to find a lot of support from the actual franchise itself.
Well, that's good. I've got a question here from our chat. He says, Anthony Manzano here says, Vincent, how did you decide to do independent horror movies? When you first got into filmmaking, did you originally want to do another genre, and horror was your backup plan, or how did that?
No, horror was always a big number one for me. I always wanted to work in the horror genre. In fact, what my backup plan was that I got to LA and I started working in visual effects, and then that led into working in feature animation on mostly children's films. So I was working in animation for about 8-9 years before I got the itch to finally get out and start doing more live action work. For me, I think what it was is I always just wanted to be on set. I always kind of tell the story of like when I was a kid and I was watching Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and Pee-wee's going through the Warner Brothers lot at the end of the movie, and he's got Godzilla and Santa Claus and Twisted Sister and all this stuff. I was like, where is this place? I want to be where that place is, because that seems really cool that you could walk from one stage and be in a Godzilla movie and walk to the next stage and be in a Twisted Sister music video. How do you do that? And so I think for me, it was sort of, that was the first step. I loved working on all sorts of productions, but I would say that I love, obviously, narrative, so feature television, those two types of things. And I love, coming out and doing big action scenes, which are a lot of fun to film. So I worked a couple seasons on The Rookie for ABC. I've worked on a couple seasons of American Horror Stories.
Which American Horror Stories did you work on?
The anthology series.
Stories. The anthology.
Yeah, the stories with the S. Yeah. And I think I've hopped on different shows here and there, but horror is like where I love. I grew up loving horror. I love making horror films. I would like to one day. Yeah. I'm
looking at getting into voice acting. I'm going to be out in LA, moving out towards LA in a year or so. And I'm looking at getting into voice acting because several of my friends have decided that I would make a good voice actor. Whatever. But but no, like I don't know. I've got a long history with horror myself. My mother was born in Sicily, and she was she started me on giallo films. And I've just been like, she basically, I'm not saying literally tied me to a chair, but she basically, I used to be afraid of horror movies when I was younger, and she basically desensitized me to horror, and I've been all about it since about age 9. And I grew up in the 80s, so I grew up in the time of the slasher film. So Friday the 13th has been some of my influence. I would like to get into doing like horror. I've thought about the independent film thing and everything too. So it's just my, kind of one of my things I'm into. So.
Oh, totally. I mean, same way. I grew up on horror. When I was 8 or 9 years old, was when I really started to get into it, and I just really haven't, stopped ever since.
We've got another question from the chat. Again, Anthony Manzano says, Vincent, your directing style in terms of horror movies, who do you model your direct after? Are you more an M. Night guy, Alfred Hitchcock? I mean, who are your influences?
Oh man, I'm big on Hitchcock. I love Hitchcock. The simplicity of his films. They're like simple but complex little like mysteries that unfold. Recently I'm a big fan of like Lee Winnell. Like Upgrade is one of my favorite movies. It's just another very simple, straightforward movie that just does everything right. A big fan of Ty West. I'm a big fan of Jeremy Saulnier, Blue Ruin. Trying to think of what else. Yeah.
Tell you what, I was really cool. The fact that Ty West did 2 movies in a year, like Pearl and X, have been great. I can't wait for Maxine to come out. I mean, Ty West is doing it good, man.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, everybody sort of has their own style. I mean, I'm very visually driven. most of my stuff comes from, how dynamic can we make a scene? How well can we shoot it so it really feels like cinematic? I grew up what's nice was when working through the animation side of the world. Yeah, Green Room, another great example of another great film by Jeremy Saulnier.
Just real quick,
Mr.
Mr. DeSante. We've dropped the link to Womp Stomp Films, which is Mr. DeSante's company, into the chat, so you guys can check them out.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so we have our YouTube channel with everything on there. Pretty good variety of stuff. Like you'll see all of our Friday the 13th films. We got a few a few original shorts that are on there. Pathosis, which was directed by a good friend of mine, Austin Bonang, who's a VES award-winning previs artist. We did another one called Imagine, which is a fun short horror movie for I think the entire family. Lots of good stuff in there, and obviously with the Never Hike series and what we're coming out with Never Hike Alone 2 pretty soon.
Okay, so Daniel Martin's got a question here. He says, what did you think of the 2009 Friday the 13th reboot? It seemed more people are warming up to it as time goes by.
I am, on 2009, I am famously, I don't know, like that's overblowing, but if you know me, I'm not a big fan of 2009. I felt like it was such a big misstep for the series, the way that we sort of, as fans, saw the film get put back into Paramount, could be back in the Paramount library, use Paramount things. They only made one film. The film it's mediocre at best. Like, there are parts of the movie that are good. There are parts of the movie that are entertaining. Derek Mears is a fantastic Jason and probably could have been the best Jason ever. And I think where my biggest problem with 2009 is that it had the potential to be the best ever, but why isn't it? And so if you were the most expensive movie ever in the franchise to be made, other than Freddy vs. Jason, but solo Friday film, your expectations should be to deliver a film that fans really rally behind and then hopefully get 2 or 3 more sequels out of. Because if you're making a Friday the 13th film, you have to expect there's going to be a few more that are going to come after it. It didn't feel like they have a great plan in place. And it was something that I really poked at for many years as a fan, being like, why didn't this work? Everything on paper seems right. I mean, they're basically doing the Rob Deere story with, a little bit of, this mixed in and that mixed in. So it's a lot of good elements. So why aren't the elements working? And a lot of my study of why I found 2009 to not be what I wanted as a fan heavily went into the way that I ended up making Never Hike Alone, which was, this is how I want Jason to be portrayed. This is how I want the camp to be shot. This is how I want the camp to look. Like, as a fan, these are the things that I'd like to see. And I was sort of, with the film, sending a message to other fans and the franchise itself to be like, if you can make more films like this, that would intrigue me as a fan, because I'm sort of getting tired of the old formula, because it doesn't really make sense anymore. Like, you got away with it in the 80s. Then the 90s completely deconstructed the slasher film. Scream tore apart the slasher film. And then, you try to do the same thing after you've sort of all your bag of tricks has been sort of thrown up in the air. You got to do something new. And they didn't really sort of do anything that either fixed the franchise continuity-wise, which would have been interesting for them to go in and sort of really set something up to make something that was more continuity-friendly, or even just do something that we hadn't seen before. So it was something, or they chose to do things that we didn't see before, like put Jason in tunnels. So that was sort of that's the big leap you made. I don't know. I expected a lot better than that.
Okay, so we have a question here from Anthony Manzano again. Are you a big fan of found footage films?
No, I actually do not like found footage films. It's one of the things when I was making Never Hike Alone that I was very conscious of being like, I got to make sure I don't do the things that found footage films do that annoy me as a fan. So Never Hike Alone is really a model based off of 127 Hours in The Martian, where you have one character that has a camera that can talk to the camera and can have that relationship with the audience, but then we can film them in a third-person narrative and keep that story going. I found that a lot more intriguing as a storytelling device than just being straight found footage the entire time, where sometimes you're just walking around with the camera. There's no cinematic value. It's just sort of stumbling through the movie or stumbling through a set until they get to the place where it needs to be, or it's odd jump cuts and things like that. As a movie watcher, I get taken out of found footage films a lot because I can feel them having to force the medium into having to film at certain points, and it just seems like, I don't know, it's really hard for me to get into it. The only one that I say that like I think really got me well was I love As Above, So Below. I thought that film was done a little bit more organically. Like they basically say there's a camera in the headset, which you can tell there's no camera in the headset, but it works. And so as long as found footage feels like natural and it feels like the camera should be on at that time, I can get through it. But a lot of the time, like that, it wears its welcome very thin with me, like very fast. So it's tough for me to get through a lot of found footage material. Yeah.
Okay, we'll field some more questions here in a second. Do you mind if we play one of your trailers from?
Yeah, go ahead.
Never Heckling. Okay, go ahead and hit it, William. You're muted, William.
It's that time of year again, and what better way to spend the summer months than in a place where you can play, learn, and grow. With plenty of activities to go around, we guarantee you'll have a fun and safe time here at Camp Crystal Lake, located in the Wessex County National.
This is a Channel 7 News Scene special report.
Approximately 8:30 a.m., the officers arrived at Camp Crystal Lake.
Identified as
A group
Pamela
of several victims
49,
were
a
reportedly
former
hacked.
employee of the camp.
Report that what you're about to see almost defies description, and some of you may not want to watch it.
Pending investigation, Camp Crystal Lake has been closed indefinitely.
Check 1, 2. Hey, everyone. How McLeod checking in on a glorious country adventure. This week we're in Wessex County to advance.
Pause the trailer for a second.
Maybe. I thought that was just me.
Yeah, no, it's William's having issues.
No, it's
Something sweet happened. I found this old trail marker on the other side of the creek. Now it's not marked in the guidebook, but I think it's worth checking out. Camp Crystal Lake. Can't believe it. That story used to scare the hell out of me. I think someone was living here.
And I love the quality of your video here, man.
Thank you. And it's funny because a lot of that is shot with, and that's before we had our logo. That's before we had like our really top tier camera that we were shooting with. That's really, it's funny to go back and like watch that now and be like, oh yeah, that's right. But that was the way we put the trailer together. Like we even like changed Kyle's line, so instead of saying shit, he says hell or heck or something like that to not.
One of our guys
that was like
legit.
We put that. Thank you. And we did that with like Sony A7S3s, a Sony A7S3, a couple other like small cameras, and we're able to put together that trailer. That's the trailer that actually ended up raising us the crowdfunding money, about $20,000 to finish the film. It was made between 2016 and 2017, so we were going up on weekends after working 5 days a week at an animation studio, shooting a scene or two, and then coming back down and like basically piecemealing the film that way throughout the entire year. We did a couple of like bigger shoots along the way, but mostly it was all piecemeal, and shooting with, like I said, like a Sony A7 III. Then eventually we signed a camera provider named Evan Butka, who had a Red camera, who's coming on and shot with his Red Epic, and we haven't turned back from that camera ever since. And now he's on like a Red Ranger Monstro, like amazing film camera that we love to use. So it's pretty cool to see how far we've come from the consumer DSLR to a professional, cinema camera.
Anthony here says, this feels like you were taping this movie with that IMAX quality video camera. It's freaking awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, we did. I mean, at that time, that's what I was kind of talking about. The consumer market sort of blew up. You all of a sudden had a camera that's the size, I mean, that's almost as big as this phone, that is shooting 4K, that allows you to get that color science, that allows you to get the detail that you need, to even overscan shots. If you shoot it a little off, but you can go in and you can adjust it without adjusting too much of the quality, because at the time you were only releasing 1080p anyway. So it was really something that, you know, independent filmmakers and, you know, weekend warrior type filmmakers didn't really have access to up until around that area. Like when the Canon 5D came out, that was sort of one of the first film cameras, like especially like the Mark II. It's like the first time that you could ever really film with your camera and get something that was cinematic. So that was really when there were a lot of films that were shot that way back in the day. Yeah, the Black Magic is another one. Actually, the Black Magic is another film that we used another camera that we used to shoot a film called Jason Rising up in Portland, which is another Friday the 13th fan film with a group out of there called Red Crow Films. There's lots of great, you know, now consumer cameras that can get you a cinematic look if you know what to do when it comes to picking the right lenses, lighting the sets properly, and that's where the money really comes in. It's like the camera is one thing. The body of a camera is so advanced now that really you can't go wrong in too many different ways. Where you're gonna actually find your cinematic look is in the lenses that you choose, and then how you light your set and how you dress your set. So that's sort of the next level of it, and that's where we sort of that's what really makes our film stand out, is the fact that we had a set that looked legit because we were filming at an actual camp. We had full buildings we could shoot in. We spent time going up there and building tables and benches and putting signs on the wall and hanging stuff up and making it feel lived in, making it feel even more abandoned than it even was. So there was a lot that was going into that, and then knowing how to manipulate it there to get the right shots.
So Vince here says, since you're a director in the horror genre, do you think movies like Friday the 13th and Halloween are just products of the time they came out, or what's your opinion on that?
Well, I mean, horror usually reflects something that's going on in society at the time. You know, the late 70s, early 80s were a violent time. There were people who were going crazy. Like, that was the whole thing. Like, everyone was afraid of the escape maniac, or, you know, the killer on the loose. And there was a lot of different stories like that. So it was really
Night Stalker.
Night Stalker. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, the serial killers were out there. Yeah, so, you know, at the time, that's what people were afraid of. What were kids doing at the, you know what I mean? Athletes went out and celebrated and had fun, and they thought that they were going to live forever. And so when you kind of mix those two worlds together, like the 80s really made there. I mean, there was basically John Hughes movies with a murderer, you know, and so it was really kind of interesting. You know, and then when you look at sort of the style of it, you see that the slasher film was really born out of the giallo from Italy. So they sort of started setting the tone as far as, you know, people getting killed on camera, seeing a lot of blood on camera, you know, the over top effects. You know, the films of Mario Bava and Dario Argento and, you know, Lucio Fulci and
Deep Red,
things like that.
Deep Red is the worst when it comes to blood. That awful pinkish blood that we're supposed to take seriously. I'm like, even as a 6-year-old, I'm like, what is this? But it's a classic.
And so they have that classic look. And so what happens is you get, like, you know, effects artists like Tom Savini and Rick Baker that come into the world, and they push that a little bit further. And you know, you have films that sort of like lead into it, like, you know, Black Christmas and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween, that sort of really push the envelope on, you know, what that formula could be. And then Friday the 13th really sort of put the rubber stamp on it. They're the ones who really sort of made it that when you look at a film that sort of fits the formula, Friday the 13th really sort of birthed that formula as we knew it, as like the fun horror film where you have the certain, you know, tropes of different people that are hanging out and, you know, get killed, and the types of people that hang out together, and every one of them had their own little story and then their own little backstory and all that stuff. And so it was really funny to see that when you go back and look at it and see that sort of repeat itself. And that's what it was like for me. Like, people are always like, oh, Vin, like, you had this cool concept. Why didn't you just make like another slasher? And I'm like, listen, if I make another slasher, you're just going to think it's Jason anyway. Oh, a slasher at a camp? Ooh, so original. How many times has that been redone? And every time you sort of like peel a layer off that onion to make something new off of it, like, it's just not the same. So why not go to the source? Why not go to, my opinion, the best slasher out there, Jason, and put him in this scenario? Because that's the scenario I want to see, not like, you know, some new thing that doesn't, you know, that nobody has any connection to, but a connection thing that I have to, because I wanted to tell stories about this character. Yeah. So that's really sort of where it comes from for me.
Interesting anecdote for you. You mentioned Tom Savini a little bit ago. I actually took a makeup artist class from him several years ago. About 20 years ago, I took a makeup artist class from him. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah, I've heard he's definitely an interesting dude. I've heard lots of funny stories about Tom. Obviously, we've seen him on years of like the behind the scenes, and you know, seeing him in conventions and the way he gets along with the other, you know, actors and, you know, people in the community. He's definitely a character, that's for sure.
You know, that original Friday the 13th movie, you know, he was on that one, and you almost had like an outlaw pirate band going on that first film, like just the way they did things and how they had to work around, like, for instance, the arrow through the neck scene with Kevin Bacon. The hose broke on that, and he was sitting there having to josh the hose and everything to get that blood spurt. So,
wow.
Yeah, no, Tom did like. Yeah, no, it's so funny when you think back and look at it. Like, the original Friday the 13th really is a labor of love. It was a film made for under $1 million. They had no clue what it was going to be. It's amazing they got Tom Savini to be on it, and they have to be thankful for Tom, because it's really his effects work, that giallo style that he sort of brought into the American culture with being able to show the kills on screen, which was the appeal of Friday the 13th, is that they were doing these over the top kills and showing the blood and doing all of this stuff. Without his work, and without him, you know, turning Jason into a mongoloid, which was his idea, a lot of his influence, you know, really pushed Friday the 13th over the edge of what really made it so popular. You know, that was the thing about the lawsuit that always sort of made me laugh was, yes, thank you, Victor, for writing the original script. Yes, thank you, Sean, for raising all the money and directing the original movie. But what makes Friday the 13th special isn't necessarily the original film as it was conceived by those two gentlemen, but the fact that Tom Savini came along and put his spin on it. And, you know, you can give Sean credit for hiring Tom Savini. Like, he was the producer, he brought him on, but Tom gave it that spin. You can also give Sean credit for hiring Steve Miner, because I feel like Steve Miner is the person who really solidified the Friday formula, solidified Jason, created Jason as we know him today, and was the one who made the ultimate decision to put the hockey mask on him, which is the thing that blew up the franchise. So they spent all these years.
By the way, anybody in the chat know what? Here's trivia. All right, where did he get? I mean, it's two-part. Who did he kill to get that mask, and what type of mask is it? Nobody. I know you guys are going to cheat and look at Google, but what movie? It's three-part. He's known for the hockey mask. What film did he get the hockey mask in? Who did he kill? And what type of hockey mask is it?
Hell, William, I could answer two of those without Googling.
I can answer all those. I'll go ahead and answer them because I know that people are just going to cheat. Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D. All right, he gets the mask from Shelley after he kills him.
Yep.
All right, it is a 1950 Detroit Red Wings hockey mask. That is where that mask comes from.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
It's hilarious because the first two movies, he does not have that mask. He's not even a killer in the first movie, but he's so known for the hockey mask. But it wasn't even until the third Friday the 13th that he got it. And it's like the best Friday the 13th ever. I'm sorry. I'll fight anybody on that. It is one of the best 80s 3D movies of all time. The kills in that movie were made for 3D. Eyes popping out when he squeezes Derek's head and that eye pops out in 3D. The harpoon that comes right at you. Oh, dude, it makes my eyes
Dude.
water. It makes my eyes water.
That's
watching
fine.
My boy
I
William
heard
here
there's a
says
new,
all the best.
there's a new release of Friday the 13th 3D, and they're doing it in the theaters. Larry Zerner's been going around with it, who plays Shelley in Friday the 13th Part 3D. Apparently, the new print has like really good 3D now. Finally, like they redid it. So if they're showing it, yeah. So there's something like they have it goes around. It plays in LA a lot. But definitely keep an eye out for any time Friday the 13th Part 3D is screening somewhere. That may be the new print that you can see that looks really, really good. I know they did it on Long Island too, so it does travel around.
So Alastair here says, do you guys like the idea of Jason being a Deadite? That kind of came in with Jason Goes to Hell. I don't think that they should mix that, mix Evil Dead and the Jason story. That's just kind of playing too hard there.
Leave that mystery. I don't want to know. Those are certain things I just don't want to know. I'm okay with those being ambiguous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't
like that you got to
Michael
borrow
Myers
from
came
another.
out.
Yeah, I don't like that you have to borrow from something else to explain what Jason is. I think all the answers are right there within the franchise, which is why I've always been like, you don't need it. Like, it's so unneeded. And plus, Deadites are so different than what Jason is that it doesn't sit with me right in many, many ways. It's a fun concept. I feel like Jason Goes to Hell is one of the first ever fan films, really. It's kind of a wild theory that's way out there, and you kind of try to do it to prove a point, but I don't feel, and it is canon, and I mean, obviously it's a canon film. You know, Adam Marcus earned that right because they paid him the bucks and he had to go through it. But at the end of the day, as a fan, I always feel like the original series stopped at 8, and everything we've gotten ever since has sort of been like just something else. Like it's just another. It's like a one-off of some weird story that they want to do. Like the old story sort of got left hanging off the end, and that's where Never Hike Alone comes in for me, which is. This is my end cap to the Paramount years. So we ignore everything New Line wise. And we just said, like, imagine this is 20 years after Jason Takes Manhattan, and that's where we're picking up. So that's sort of the way that we do it.
Once the franchise goes to space, it's over.
I mean, it is a fun film.
I repeat.
Jason 8 was a fun film, but still has its problems.
Space, it's over.
Yeah.
Leprechaun went to space. The only reason why we're still because Leprechaun in the Hood saved the franchise.
Yeah.
But once you go into space, it's over. Okay.
Vince Manzano here says, what were your thoughts on the movie The Lighthouse, and do you consider that horror or suspense?
Definitely suspense. I don't know how much I guess the horror of being stuck with like the worst roommate in history, but I think it was more of like, I don't know, like to me, those are art house films, you know?
Yeah.
That's like that Lighthouse, it dabbles in horror, it dabbles in suspense, it dabbles in, you know, different types of... Yeah.
Has a little bit of a Lovecraftian feel, kind of. Like.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. So it's got that sort of like really kind of like, it's off, like it has that off-kilter feel, it's got that, and that's why it sort of fits into the horror genre. It sort of has those odd moments. You know, it has that gruesome ending in a way, if you want to call that gruesome. But I definitely just see those as straight up just art house movies. Like those films aren't for everybody. Like even I have a tough time getting through it sometimes. It just puts me to sleep. Like you have to be in the right mood to and you have to be very awake to watch that movie. But it's like amazing. Like the dialogue, the way the film's shot, the way it looks. Like how
I feel about The Shining.
What's that?
That's how I feel about The Shining. I have to be 100% alert because the pace of that movie and the vision of that movie, to me, that's not a horror movie. I've never considered The Shining a horror movie. I've always considered it an abstract visionary movie that I still to this day, 48 years on the planet, do not understand. That includes having seen Dr. Sleep and understanding that right off the bat. For some reason, The Shining I just never connected with it. This is coming from I live and breathe horror and science fiction. And that movie, I try to watch it. I watched it before I went. We did the promo for Dr. Sleep, and I'm like, I stopped it right in the middle. I mean, I consider The Shining, and people disagree with me, as an art house film. I just see it as more of a piece of art that I just.
That's because Kubrick thumbed his nose at Stephen King and did his own thing, and Kubrick was always out there with his stuff, you know.
Yeah, and have you ever seen the mini series that they did with The Shining? That's a little bit more on.
Yeah, that was actually closer to what Stephen King's original vision was, and I love the miniseries.
Yeah, Steven Weber, from Wings. I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember
and
really
Rebecca
liking that
De Mornay.
even more than the film because I like how close it was to the book. Yep.
Yeah, Rebecca De Mornay.
So that might be another. They do a better job of explaining it, and they go through the whole real thing of it versus like.
Okay, so Manzano
really
here
left things up to chance. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, Anthony Manzano here says, I'm a big fan of the remake of The Ring. Do you guys feel the remake ruined the original that came out, the Japanese Ringu? No, I think it had its own merits, but
no, I think it opened up the culture to that stuff. I mean, I think it's people shit on remakes all the time, but I think that's stupid because if you think about it, like we've been putting on the same plays for thousands of years or hundreds of years. I don't know. I might be overblowing that, but we've been telling the same stories. Some of the Greek
plays we've been putting on for thousands of years. So yeah, I mean,
yeah, and so films, it's the same way. It's like we tell the same stories over and over again with different types of characters, and sometimes it's not a bad idea, like to make a remake of something to make it fit into the market. So if somebody takes, The Ring, which is from I believe it was it was Japanese, correct?
Yeah, it was Ringu.
It was Japanese, sorry. Yes.
Ringu.
Yeah.
When you watch that, if they put that in the theaters.
Did we lose him, or did I?
I think he froze up there.
Yeah, there was a slight delay. I'll let him come back online, but I'll answer this question real quick while he's coming back online. The Ring, as it was released in Japan, Ringu would have never flown over here. Yeah, I love it as an instrumental form, but you got to realize who I am and what I am. I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff. But if you were to release Ringu, you would have never been able to do a wide release of that. You had to structure it for an American audience. So I understood. And when it comes to remakes, for me, if the only time I think that you should never do a remake, no matter what genre it is if the time and the era and the atmosphere is so much a part of the movie that you cannot reproduce. Like for me, Red Dawn, The Crow, things like that. But if you can go do The Thing from 1952 from Another World and then do another one where you're doing a complete culture change and restructuring, then go for it. But when it's a foreign movie, foreign movies are just different. You almost have to remake them in some cases.
Yeah, the only and the way that like a lot of foreign territories tell stories aren't the American style of filmmaking, so it wouldn't really translate over here. But what happens is that when you release The Ring here, and then somebody says, "Do you know that this is based on something else?" The real horror fan who's really into this stuff is going to go, "Well, I'm going to go seek that out." And then it opens up a world to them, and all of a sudden they discover Japanese horror, or they discover Korean horror, or they discover something from somewhere else. They discover Italian giallo films. They, all these different types of stuff that they can. Once you release it here in the U.S. under something else, it just opens up the idea of like, what was that old film? Oh, you're going to remake it? Well, what was the original like? Was the original better, or is the new one better? And so it does open up like a healthy debate. It's when the studios rely on it so much. And, when the real ripe candidates for remaking films are films like Friday the 13th. Films that, like, they're good, but they're highly flawed. And if you go back and you fix all the big flaws, you may be able to get an even better film out of it. Or something like, like you said, with The Thing. In the 1950s, they didn't have the technology to do the things that they did in, 1980 when they remade the movie, which is, like, one of the best special effects spectacles of all time. So it becomes a thing where, okay, you know what, the technology has advanced. Look at Dune. You know what I mean? You go back and you look at the original Dune, and then you say, like, well, of course they should remake Dune now because they can actually make this stuff look legit. And don't get me wrong, I love miniature work, I love stop motion work, but now the technology is there to really sort of bring those worlds to life in the way that they're really meant to be seen, in the way that the original authors for those, stories really kind of had a bigger thing in mind that, when they're in a book, when they're on the page, obviously you can imagine what's there, but when you have to bring it up on set and you actually have to make it happen for the camera, it's just really in the recent, last 20 years that we've really been able to bring, computer graphics to a way where we can almost do anything now.
Yeah, we can use practical effects with the CGI. too. That's some of the best work out there. So yeah, I agree 100%. So all right, any more questions for Vince?
We got one more out of Manzano here. Vince, the reason why I ask is because I felt after the original remake came out that they overdid the movie and we're doing it just for money. I guess he's talking about the sequels.
Oh yeah, okay. I think maybe what he meant was like because they remade The Ring in 2017, and actually, Ring bombing is what made it so Friday the 13th wouldn't come out. That happens with everything. You know what I mean? The minute something is successful, they want to make 2 or 3 more of them because it's an automatic cash grab for the studios. You have to understand that film studios are mostly run by money people. They're not run by creative people. Like they are, obviously, like they have to have a big creative vision for the studio. They have to have goals of the types of films that they want to make. But at the end of the day, they want to make money. So if something makes
borrowed money, by the way, borrowed money,
exactly. So they want to make. They don't want to risk money, and they. I got stuck again. You guys might be able to hear me now.
I can hear
they
you.
don't want to. Okay, great. So they don't want to lose money. And the minute they get a guaranteed hit, they're going to keep milking that for as much money as they can because they don't want to take any risk. Every time they release original film, every time they do something that's not established, doesn't have an established brand, Star Wars, Marvel, all that stuff, it's a bigger risk in the box office because they don't know whether it's going to hit or not. But that's where the art of film is really born. It's not knowing whether it's going to hit. It's people telling story to tell story and seeing where the chips lie. And that's how films used to be made all the time. You know, so now it's weird. But even then, like, you know, even back in the day, it really wasn't remakes. Everything that we saw was, a lot of the time, the successful films were movies based on books. Something that's already there, something that's already proven, something that's already sold, something that already has a built-in audience that's going to show up and support it. That's what they sort of want. And as you know, as much as we wish that everything could just be original and we didn't have to go retread through it there, a lot of the times, like, the studios need those types of films to bank on to make sure that they have enough money to make the original films. It's just been a weird influx over the last, I would say, 30 years of, you know, them going heavy and heavier into franchise films and things that have built, you know, everybody complains about superhero films now, but sort of, hey, if that's what's selling the tickets and that's what's paying for the theaters to stay open and that's what's paying for the studios to stay open, well, they got to keep making them until something else comes along that we show up at. We show up with our dollar and we vote with our dollar. And because we keep giving money to just those films, we're going to keep getting them until something else comes along that really kind of drives us wild and we want to keep seeing more of.
I'm actually glad that you said that. Because a lot of our audience needs to hear that from filmmakers. It's not necessarily us that drives the way the thing goes. It's like the general populace bringing in their money. And William and I say this all the time, but it's really good hearing it from another filmmaker, you know. Mm-hmm. That's really what pushes the thing. It's not the 1% of us that are fans, it's the general population, you know. And as long as
$40 standard, that's hurt us. Really,
yeah.
That's the one thing that the comic book movies have done. I understand keeping the theaters open, and the business is the business, and that's I'm on board with it. I'm literally dressed up like a fool right now with a movie that is fit in that genre. But the one adverse thing that I do have is that it has raised this standard to this $1 billion standard, and a lot of times movies are not going to get made if the financiers don't think that it can make $1 billion. And that's the one thing about current management when it comes to WB. You know, hey, we don't want to do things straight to streaming. We don't want to do low budget stuff that's in for this format. I got a slight problem with that is because without these other formats and straight to VHS like we used to have in the 80s, some of these movies may never get made. Some of these movies don't justify the kind of theatrical big, 4,000 theater release. So what comic book movies have done, as much as I love them, they've raised the standard as far as expectations go that some of these movies, especially horror movies, will never meet. And a lot of movies are just not getting made because of that. That's the bad part.
All right, Vincent. We have a question here from Daniel Martin. He says, "Are you a fan of elevated horror genre like the movies of A24, like Hereditary, Midsommar, The Witch?"
Yes, I love that stuff. When people trash on elevated horror, I always laugh. I'm like, why? It's like people are trying to sort of, like it says. I mean, it's something
I
that's
hate
been
that term.
put onto the. But I mean, it sort of is. I mean, like, let's be real. Let's be real as fans. There's horror. There's horror like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I love that movie. That's never going to go compete for an Oscar. I love that there are filmmakers out there who are making horror films that are in that level of being like, no, you have to judge this as if this could be Oscar worthy. That horror movies and horror stories don't always have to be sort of like B movies. It's not always like, it's just some guy running around killing people. Like, it can have that, going back to the Hitchcock days of like being real dramas with the horror elements twisted into it. And it's not to say that like I think those movies are perfect or that I think that it is a superior genre within the genre of the films. I just love the fact that there
is the term. Is that a proper term though? That elevated horror. I think when I think of horror, I just think of horror, and I understand there's just different levels of horror. But to be elevated horror, yeah, it's like I'm doing my peaky thing. I don't know. I just take the term rubber.
Well,
I understand.
Okay, so with me,
I think more of it's more of like an art house sort of style where it's yeah. Go ahead.
With me, a lot of like horror. Like I said, I was brought up on giallo films and slasher movies and stuff like that. And like, I'm used to giallo films. I'm used to slasher movies. They don't bother me anymore. But like, I'm going to be real truthful with everybody here, and people are going to probably laugh at me. But like, I cannot finish the movie Hereditary. There's an aspect to Hereditary. See, just a little background on me, Mr. DeSante. I spent 25 years in the mortuary field, in the funeral field. So I've seen all sorts of disarray with humankind. And that scene with the little girl's head on the road with the ants covering it just still gets me. And that movie, like, I can watch it, but like that scene I have to like back up off of because I've seen that in real life, you know. I've seen that actually happen. I've picked up bodies out of fields and stuff like that. So I don't know. There's just something about like some of Ari Aster's movies that get me. There were parts of X that even got to me a little bit, and parts of Pearl. You know, like there's her little soliloquy at the end of Pearl. Dude, she's out there, man.
Yeah.
And that's where those movies kind of get to me. But like,
I love it. Yeah. No, I think.
But then, like on the reciprocal, though, like a lot of people will tell you that the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a classic, and I'm not saying it isn't, but I prefer the remake in 2003 to the original. And I don't know if there's a problem with me or if that's just that it was
it's you.
More of a trigger.
By guys, by the way, for the audience who don't know, Vince is on a slight delay, so that's why you kind of hear him responding a little bit later to the questions, because I'm noticing there's like about maybe a second and a half delay. So for our audience who's just tuning in, that's what you're hearing sometimes when we're talking over each other, because there's a slight delay. Where are you at right now, Vince?
I'm in Los Angeles, California.
Oh yeah, wow. So for some reason, maybe it's because of where I'm at, and I'm hosting the thing. But yeah, there's a slight delay. So we're not talking over each other on purpose. I just noticed there's a delay. I think when you froze the first time, that's where it's picking up. But that's cool. Do you have Cox here? Never mind.
I don't know. I was told there's great. What's it called? Internet here. So I don't know what's going on with this. Like I keep dropping out a little bit, so I apologize if my stream's not really catching.
No, that's okay, dude. It's okay because I have shitty internet. That's why I was asking if you had Cox.
Laster here says, Vincent, what would you have done to improve Halloween Ends, and do you hope Scream 6 will avoid the same thing Halloween Ends did?
Oh man, I don't know if
without spoiling Scream 6 for those of you who haven't seen it.
I haven't seen Scream. I'm actually going to go see Scream 6 tomorrow morning, so I'm looking forward to that. I think with Halloween Ends, I think I'll try to keep it simple. My big critique with the last trilogy is I felt each film had a great formula and then tried to add one more element that didn't belong. And so every film just sort of was carrying like an extra storyline that it didn't need, or it would do things to itself to sort of hamstring itself. With the Ends thing, I think that they needed to make a decision. Like if they were going to have someone replace Michael Myers should have just been dead. Like the tag teaming, the beating up, the weird way they find each other, I just didn't buy any of that. And so because I didn't buy them recognizing each other as like, oh, you're just like me, which isn't something that Michael does. He doesn't sympathize with anybody.
He was just killed the guy. He would have just killed him. He would have just killed him.
He would have just killed him. So it just didn't really make a lot of sense to me. For me, I always said that, like, what I said to somebody once was, it would have been, I think, more interesting if Michael wandered off at the end of All Halloween Kills, crawled into the sewer and died and was never found. And it isn't until Corey finds his body that he realizes that he can exact his revenge and make everybody think it's Michael and sort of start that plot, which would have been interesting to make it work in that way. I'm not saying that would have been a great movie, but I think it would have been better than him tag teaming with Michael. Like, if you're going to go that way, go that way. But if not, like, I would have rather have seen a copycat killer going after people without Myers helping him out, and then that luring Myers out of, retirement to sort of come back and be like, who's killing in my name? So it was like sort of one of those two stories would have worked for me, but the way they did it kind of fell in between. It felt like it was written by 2 or 3 different people, which it was, and so it didn't really sort of like land with both feet for me.
The 2018 one, the first of this trilogy, was awesome. It felt like John Carpenter. It was great. And when I went into Halloween Kills, I was like, those last 2 movies were awful. They were awful, awful, awful. All right, there was no redeeming those last 2. That first one was great. And when I went into the second one, I'm like, wow, I'm in for more greatness. And I'm like, this was the Predator awful. I don't know if you saw the last Predator movie, not Prey, but that ridiculous movie.
Yeah.
That was how bad that movie was.
Hal Jordan here says,
I was very disappointed in that movie.
Hal Jordan here says, are you open to making paranormal type movies?
Yes, in fact, I have one. My next short paranormal movie. Once I'm done with Never Hike Alone, and then DC or Marvel. It's tough, man. I love my favorite thing is Batman. Like, so I gotta go with DC just because, like, I love Batman. Like, people, like, I'm not a big Snyder guy. Like, I'm like the Snyderverse dude, but I love Batman versus Superman, and I love Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I love the new Batman movie, and I love all Batman movies. Like, Marvel's awesome. I've had a lot of fun watching those, but like, if I had to choose, I'd rather watch like 15 animated Batman films in a row than like a theatrical Marvel film. Like, I just love Batman. I love the story of the character, and I can watch that all day.
Toronto Freddy says, "Yo Vicente."
Although I'm sure Hal Jordan's gonna hate that.
And Romp Stomp represent. Apparently he knows of you or knows you or what have you.
Maybe. Oh wait, that Toronto Freddy, I know who that could be.
Yeah.
I know a Freddy from Toronto.
Anthony Manzano says, Vince, what were your opinions on the horror movie with James McAvoy that came out recently where he was in a psychiatric facility? I think he's talking about Switch.
Switch, or the M. Night Shyamalan movie where he's like the beast?
Split?
Yeah, Switch. Split.
Oh, Split.
Yeah, Split.
I like Split. Split's, you know what? For a long time, M. Night Shyamalan got a bad rap, and everybody was shitting on M. Night movies ever since The Happening. And then lately, I've been watching more and more M. Night Shyamalan movies, and he is the modern day Hitchcock. Like, he makes films just like his films are so down on him. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you froze for a second there, buddy.
You got me now?
Yeah, we got you now.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I was gonna say. I was just gonna say in general, like modern day. Like, I think the most recent M. Night stuff is really like, it's very Hitchcockian, and I've been liking his stuff more and more and more as he's been going on. Like, I think that like The Happening really sidelined him for a little bit, but ever since then it's been.
Knock at the Cabin is great, by the way.
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed Knock at the Cabin. I thought that was good. I thought Old was going to be a slog. I was actually really impressed with Old. And so, like, that's what I was like, man, I feel like I'm watching Hitchcock movies. Like, you're put in a situation, the situation has to unravel, and you don't know what's going to happen till the end of the movie. And that's really just really how it is for me. I really like M. Night's films.
Toronto Freddy says, will Ghost Jason be squaring off with Dave McRae's Freddy?
That's going to be a very expensive fan film. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't think we'll ever make like a true blue Freddy versus Jason. It's just I'm like running out of steam on making fan films. Honestly, like Never Hike Alone 2 and Dylan's New Nightmare, which are the two projects here, who I'm both like really excited and I can't wait to get. Am I back? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep freezing. But I feel like after these two films that we're doing this year, it's time for me to hang up the stuff. So I'll be focusing on more original stuff after this. But, you never know. We could do like a 5-minute short maybe if there's sort of a way to do it. I'll always have the costume around, so you never know.
Yeah.
But getting Dave to the States and putting him in the makeup, that always takes a little bit extra.
Where is Dave?
Where's Dave located?
Dave's in Toronto. That's why I'm saying he's. Oh,
yeah, that's
he's
what he
located
said.
in
That's
Canada.
Toronto Freddy.
Yeah, so
Toronto Freddy
getting
says
us
that
in-
be me. So Toronto
You're
Freddy says that be
Canadian,
me.
Are you Canadian, Vince?
No, I'm a U.S. born citizen.
I'm just looking at the flag behind you.
Oh no, so I'm actually the place. That's so funny. That's right. Where I'm staying, the person who owns this house is Canadian. Her family's from Canada. I've known her for a long. Yeah.
Yeah, because I put a curse on the entire nation of Canada after 1993, where my Kings were robbed of the Stanley Cup, and I said, "Just no more cups, no cups for Canada." It's been 30 years, a 30-year anniversary with this year.
So. Okay. Now I see Anthony said that it's the Way of Water. I didn't see that movie, so I wouldn't be able to comment on it.
Oh, Avatar?
Yeah, that's what I was.
I still haven't
Yeah,
seen
I
it.
saw that. Yeah, it's Way of Water. So
I
that's
did-
the one he was asking about.
Oh, Way of Water, like, the Avatar, the new Avatar. I saw it. It was an Avatar movie. It was just like lots of CG and recycled story material.
Blue people.
With blue people.
Yeah. Oh, but then there were some teal ones.
Yeah.
Now, so now they with little fish tails. It's a little bit different. Next one's going to be the fire ones. That'll be fun.
This is all going downhill. So I stick to horror and science fiction. Oh, that's science fiction, but I don't even consider that science fiction. That's
what would you say would be your absolute most favorite horror movie you've ever seen, or you?
Oh, that's too much, man. I don't know. I just love all, like, I don't know, Return of the Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead, all the Friday the 13th movies, the Predator films, the Puppet Master movies, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Obviously, all like the slashers, Michael, Freddy.
Did you catch
Leatherface,
the?
Godzilla.
Did you catch the new 2022 Hellraiser movie?
I
With,
did.
Jamie Clayton.
Yeah, it was fine. It was more of a heck raiser.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It felt kind of like it was cool, but it also felt toned down, and I never felt like anyone was ever in real danger. It felt like the Cenobites were really just like, yes, you can play this game. You might actually get out of it. Versus like prior to, it's like, haha, you're fucked. Like that was just it. You know what I mean? It was like, no, it's okay. Now that you've finished the game, you get to pick your prize, and there's no coming back. Like, we're not going to double backstab. You actually win. It was like, oh, that doesn't feel like what the Cenobites would do. Like, don't they just?
I think Jamie Clayton. I think Jamie Clayton played a good Hell Priest, though. Like she did fill a good spot there. Her voice is disturbing.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the director too. I honestly, it's a really well put together film. It didn't have the bite I thought that a Hellraiser film should have. That's my only critique of that film. But other than that, I mean, performances are great. I actually thought the story was really good. I do like the way that there were different sort of evolutions of different configurations, because it was one thing from the original series. It was always like, oh, it's this really hard puzzle, and they just literally go like bloop, and open it. Like everybody figures it out in 2 seconds.
A kid opened it.
Yeah. You're like, how hard is this? You know what I mean? So So I did like that they made it a little bit more it was interesting. Like it chose people, and you know, it had to
Yeah.
go through different levels. So I was really down with that.
I liked how each configuration had a different thing you could get from it, like wealth or love or you know, the lament configuration, which is just you realizing that life sucks. And then you had the one that led you to Leviathan, and the poor guy that got led to Leviathan. That's all I'm saying. He got Cenobited twice.
Yeah.
Almost like Hellraiser
Right.
too. So. All right. Well, hey,
Exactly.
hey Vince, thanks for giving us this much of your time, and we dropped the link.
Of
We
course.
dropped everything. I dropped
Yeah,
the.
thanks for
trailer.
coming on, man. I appreciate you you know, talking with me over the last couple of months, you know, over the last month and so.
Yeah, I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
guys working with me. I was making my way out here. It was tough for me to find
Yeah.
the time. So
Oh man, it's understandable. Trust me, it's the thing, man. I get it.
oh no, I get it. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys for coming. And then
I'm
for
still
everybody
working on getting Blue Blood and Honey guys on here.
nice. That should be a lot of fun. Yeah,
I'm
thank
gonna
everybody for watching.
But if it ever
Oh,
happens,
go ahead.
yeah, I'm gonna keep in touch
I'm
with
sure you
you.
can get them.
By the way, I have some questions and some ideas that I want to throw past you. So I'll check with you later after, like the next couple of days. I'll message you.
All right, sounds great. And then yeah, just everybody make sure you know, Never Hike Alone 2 is going to come out this year, October 13th, 2023. We have a crowdfunding campaign that's running right now that's helping to fund the rest of the movie. We film in about a month, and then we will be you know, and we'll have that. You'll get your name in the film. You can get Blu-rays, stuff like things that you can
okay.
grab. Yeah, you got me back.
So
And
Aaron
then-
Pritchard has one more question here. Vince, what are your thoughts on Aussie horrors like the Babadook?
I love the Babadook. I'm also a big fan of Wolf Creek. I got to meet Greg McLean at the Telluride Horror Show, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, Babadook was really cool. It was it's different. It really got me sort of like on edge. But I think my favorite Aussie would be Wolf Creek. I love those movies.
Oh, those movies
based
are
on a
great.
true story.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you for coming on, brother. I appreciate it. You know, thanks for corresponding with me and everything, and we appreciate having you on, man.
All right. Thanks a lot, Vince.
Let him come back. Hold on, William. He's frozen again.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later. I don't know if he's ever going to be unfrozen. All right. That was tough because I feel him. I feel him because.
Oh, wait a minute. He came back.
All right.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that,
Sorry,
man.
guys. All right. I know. I was like, when am I going to connect again so I can say bye? But I really appreciate you guys having me on. Definitely, I'll
Yeah.
keep an eye out for an email in the next couple of days.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right,
All right, bye, guys.
All right, yeah, that was fun. That was one of our later ones, but he had a lot to say. He has a lot of stuff that he's done just in the films he's done. So that was a very interesting conversation, and I can feel his pain because dealing with Cox out here. There's been whole shows that I've watched after we've done them, where I got home thinking we had a really good show, and we did, and I watched myself be pixelated the whole time, and that's why I'm watching right now just to make sure I'm not pixelated. Now, here I go. Yeah, there was one show I forgot where it was. We hit on a whole bunch of topics. The show flowed great. It sounded great. It looked great. From my point of view, I get home and watch it and realize that my internet connection was so jammed up that I was pixelated for like 2 hours. I'm like, I was so pissed. So yeah, anybody out there who's having internet problems, I feel your pain. And any of you guys out here that have Cox, I really feel your pain.
And that's what I'm telling you, man. You need to get Spectrum, bro.
I can't get Spectrum out here.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, it's a whole monopoly. It's a mob hit, dude. All right, so here we go. Did we miss any questions while we were in off? Or we all geared?
Yeah, we've got some questions from before Vicente came on. Let me go back to that.
Okay. By the way, Stella left. She was feeling my pain. She's feeling the allergies things.
Yeah, she's been having issues lately too. So
I envy you, Stella, because I can't really leave. So.
Okay, so Anthony Manzano says, with Bob Iger returning, do you think Star Wars and Marvel is going to focus more on quality over quantity? And is quality going to get better instead of just pushing stuff out on Disney Plus? Yes. That's the whole reason why Bob Iger came back. And his number 2 guy is also going to have, when he steps up into Iger's spot, because Iger's leaving in about a year and a half, when he steps up into Iger's spot, he's going to also be on the same length as Bob Iger is right now. So,
but to be fair, Iger pushed that before he retired because that's what the shareholders at that time wanted. Remember, they wanted volume because they wanted that money. And he was bought. Chapek was bought over from the parks, which is where Disney makes the bulk of its money. So Bob Chapek did a lot of stupid shit to basically get removed, but that in volume was something that these shareholders at the time were pushing down everybody's throat. That's why you got so much. They wanted to have a continuity of billion dollar or high ratings, but they didn't realize that the streaming thing was going to cost everybody money on the front end. So, but yeah, I think Iger will correct that.
Okay, so Slipknot fan wants to know: have you seen Sometimes They Come Back by Stephen King, William?
Yes.
I actually like the original one. The sequels suck.
I've only seen the original.
And then we have another one from Anthony Manzano. He says, with Bob Iger's investors call recently saying that he's going to be focusing on quality over quantity, do you think that means we're not going to see a lot of Disney Plus shows anymore? No. There's going to be some Disney Plus stuff. It won't be as prevalent as it was last year, but there will be a couple, maybe 2 or 3 shows a year, including some animation.
Yeah, and what Star Wars, really, the focus on Star Wars really needs to be put back on movies.
Yeah.
We haven't had a Star Wars movie in 5 years. You know, that's a big problem right there. I mean, a lot of what Star Wars is driven by cinematic achievements. It's definitely the shows is great, but Star Wars to me has always been about movies. But you know, the shows are fine. This has got to come out. If you're going to have these shows, you're going to have a movie out there too. All right.
Larry says, I saw Ant-Man the other night and it was good. I was expecting it to be really bad because of people hating on it. Seems good to me. So, I mean,
it wasn't as bad as people said it was, but it wasn't really good either. It was just like, okay, in the middle there. It was just a lot of stuff crammed into a character that just doesn't really, you just couldn't take seriously as being involved in all that. But Jonathan Majors did a great job, and if anything, all else failed, you got to introduce Kang. So it wasn't a complete loss, but it wasn't one of their better movies at all.
Hal Jordan says, William Thade, what's your favorite horror movies?
John Carpenter's The Thing.
I would have to say my favorite. I have to answer the same way Vincent DeSanti did. There's too many. There's too many that I just absolutely like. Now I do have a list of horror movies that bother me, not in a bad way, that actually scare me. And that's saying a lot because not many horror movies frighten me, but there's a list of 4 that I could give you that get to me.
Yeah, but me, it's automatic. John Carpenter's The Thing.
And then we have here from Anthony Manzano, do you think Disney's ever going to do like Foot DC and WB are doing, where they're going to license out their products to other streamers? Only Hulu. That's really all Disney will do is license out to Hulu.
Yeah, Disney, you got to realize Disney acquired a company that already had hoarded out a lot of its stuff, and they're just now getting some of that stuff back. They're never going to get Spider-Man back, but they're getting FF back, they're getting X-Men back, but so I don't think Disney will go through that again. Warner Brothers will, because there are certain things that just don't fit with what James Gunn's doing, but still, could make the company money by licensing. So it's 2 totally different situations. You're coming off a situation where Marvel Studios is just now getting back some of its primary IPs and will never get back one of them. And whereas Warner Brothers owns all of their IPs and can actually do limited licensing agreements, and they'll never give them up like Marvel. Marvel sold Spider-Man pretty much. So, but yeah, I don't. DC would do limited licensing like they did with the Batman animated thing that they just came out with. So I see WB doing it quite often.
Okay, so we've got one from Numbers here. It says, did you hear about Michael Dexter set to direct the first episode and Sandra Holt will star as Vanessa Fisk for Daredevil Born Again. Yes, I did.
I heard that too, and I'm okay with it. She did some season 1 stuff, I think, or he did season 1, a couple episodes from season 1, if I can recall correctly. So yeah, I mean, season 1 of Dexter was brilliant. Season 2 was even better. Season 4 was probably one of the better seasons of all time of any show. So
Numbers wants to know, are we seeing Scream 6? I probably will not. I don't know if William will.
I will see it probably tomorrow night. I have to watch Scream 5 first. So if I don't want to go, but I'm not up on the Scream franchise, and I don't want to go see Scream 6 if Screams 4 and 5 are crucial to it. So,
Alastair says, Thaden William, what is your favorite H.P. Lovecraft story? For me, it's going to be Herbert West, the Reanimator, or the Shadow of Rinsmith.
I'm going to go with Reanimator. I can relate to, as a horror fan, I can relate more to it than anything else he's done.
And the movie version with Jeffrey Combs is so good.
Yeah. It's basically porn, but yeah, it's great.
According to Fox Business and Jim Cramer, Disney's planning to sell all their Hulu stock back to AT&T, and they're going to use a portion of that money to get the rights back to Hulk and Namor. That currently is a rumor. That has not been set down as fact yet.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I don't even know if they want to buy the rest of Hulu, because if they sell their stake in Hulu, they can sell their stuff to Hulu. So now they're making stuff and they can get paid to make the stuff instead of being the ones that put the production bill all the time. So you also have to keep that in mind as well.
Hal Jordan says, looking forward to the HBO Max series Welcome to Derry, which is going to be a prequel to the It franchise. I'm actually looking forward to it too.
I'm not,
because part of it is going to be involving. It's going to be involving Stephen King, so I would like to hear him tell more stories out of Derry. But
listen, Hollywood, enough of the prequels. All right, guys, enough of the prequels. Let's move on. Let's move forward, not backwards. Let's go this way, not this way. You know.
Larry Cordowitz says, no, William, Repenetrator was the porn version of Reanimator.
No, Reanimator remember the chick, he has the chick butt naked on the slab and then he's got the head talking to her. I mean, that was pure 80s gratuitous right there.
Well, but that's what
they showed all 3Ds just to do.
That's what Barbara was good at, though. The chick that was the actress in that.
Yeah,
Barbara Crampton.
Yeah, you got your soft porn.
That's what she was good at, and that
was that
wasn't the
Showtime type porn.
That wasn't the only H.P. Lovecraft she did, especially with Jeffrey Combs. She was in From Beyond and a couple of others, Lord. Castle Freak. She did a few movies with Jeffrey Combs. Oh yeah.
That was back in the 80s where it was like full frontal. They didn't give a fuck back then.
No more questions. We just got some comments down there.
Okay, yeah, I'm watching. Go ahead and see this. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna wrap it up because I'm feeling like shit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so I think you know what? It's just gonna be the first time I didn't make it to midnight. Yeah, we need more. Hey, you know what? I don't mind skinning horror movies. I just that's all I remember with Reanimator from it and that and the animated head and everything else. All right, I'll answer Anthony Manzano's question real quick. Oh, you got it. Oh, sorry.
There we go. Question about Dexter and the premise of the show with how they portray Dexter in the show as a righteous serial killer. Does that really exist? No.
No, it doesn't. It as cool as Dexter was, he had a moral. The thing that makes a serial killer what they are is the lack of a moral compass. They really don't. From what I've seen and what I've studied, they don't have a complex moral compass, because the more complex your moral compass is, the more likely you are to have standard morals like you and I and not kill people. So he has a moral compass and he has a code. So that's Hollywood. That's Hollywood. I don't know. I've never seen of any instances where this exists, but it could, but I doubt it. All right. Oh yeah, Larry. Yeah, I did daylight savings. So yeah, technically we skipped ahead. So yeah, all you guys that are on the East Coast right now are right now as we speak, you're getting fucked right now. All right, right now you're getting robbed, and there's nothing you can do with it. Thieves have come in tonight and taken your hour, and they're running away, and you won't catch up to them for 6 months. That's like somebody stealing your wallet, and there's nothing you can do. That sucks. Daylight savings sucks. All right, Congress. If I got any congressmen or any people from the Senate watching, I need you to pass a law. I need you to get rid of daylight savings in my lifetime. All right, I don't care what your party is, who you are, what your political differences are. If you tell me we're getting rid of daylight savings, you might have my vote no matter what. It is the dumbest thing we do in America. What are we saving daylight? What are we saving for what? Oh, we get more time to be in the sun. Who the fuck cares? Come from May till September. I need more time in the sun. I need more time for my brain to bake inside my skull here in Vegas. No, the sooner that sun goes down, the better. My power bills will love 2 hours of not having to run the air conditioner at damn near 60 all the time. All right. Give the concrete some time to cool down instead of the poor little doggies that have to wear little booties or being picked up because the ground can literally fry steak. All right, we don't need to save daylight. Right? I don't know who came up with it. I think I know who came up with it. In fact, if I wasn't so aggravated with daylight savings.
Stella says blame Ben Franklin.
Why? And why is it so hard to get rid of it? We all know it's stupid. I don't run into anybody that says, "Oh, hey, daylight savings is a great idea." No. I have yet to run into anybody that says, "Let's keep this shit," and it's given me a good reason why. All right, it's stupid. It's inconvenient. Oh, I don't like when it gets dark at 4:45. You know what? Then go to Alaska. Go to Alaska. You can get 30 days of night, 30 days of day. You can get whatever you want to. All right. I don't mind it getting dark around 4:45. I'm okay. When summertime comes around, if I don't have to burn in my own skeleton for a few less hours, I'm a-okay. Daylight savings is stupid. It's dumb. Let's get rid of it. All right, and I think Congress is they pushed it through, and it only took 100 some odd years, 100 whatever. How long this has been around? You say Ben Franklin? That's quite a few decades ago, for some shit we never needed. Let it get dark early. Get the nightlife going quicker. You know what? Because when I go to bed at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't care what time the sun comes up. Don't care. I care what time it goes down. Why? Because I'm out and about in it. Right? I don't need you to save any daylight. It doesn't even sound like something. How does something that even sounds so stupid go on for this fucking long? How did we all buy into this? We're a society that hates everything. All right? Anything goes wrong, we're up in arms. We're protesting. We're turning over cars. We're boycotting. We're hashtagging. How did this stupid shit that existed before hashtags, that existed before Twitter, that existed before basically electricity is what you're telling me, how did this last long while all the other things that aggravate us get chased away? How? As we are literally on the edge of getting absolutely screwed out of an hour. And nothing to show. So, yeah, fuck daylight savings. All right, daylight savings. You're right there with Cox Cable right now. All right, you're right there. You're on the bad list, and I'm not the jokingly banned list. Like I'm talking about the real shit I could do without. All right, you're right there. You're right there with pineapple. All right, Cox Cable, pineapple and pizza. and daylight savings are on the same. They're circling the drain right now. Right, things I could do without. Any more questions? Okay, no. What? Listen, I don't farm. All right, you got modern technologies. Don't you got the heat lamps or something like that? Something, put some steroids in the food. Do something. That 1 hour is going to make a difference in the farming community. Your squash is not going to grow because 1 less hour is. Come on now.
Stella says too many accidents happen with time changes. It's not worth it.
It's not. It's not. Where's the outrage? Wait, listen. The Little Mermaid goes from being a white cartoon to a black girl. What is outrage? Why is the outrage for this to actually ruin this? This affects us all. All right, look, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle girl will be different, whatever. Outrage over that? Well, we take daylight savings, right? No, why? All the outrage that we tear up Twitter and the internet for, not one peep about this. This is something that should unite us all. This has to suck for everybody. I don't farming. You know what? If you can't grow your shit with 1 less or 2 less hours of daylight, I'm sorry, I don't need to eat it. All right. No, guys, don't do it. Do not come in this chat defending daylight savings. Don't do it.
William is canceling daylight savings time.
Done with daylight savings. And I shouldn't be the one to cancel it. We pass dumb laws every day. Just go watch C-SPAN. See the absolute boring bullshit that gets passed day after day after day, bill after bill after bill. Where's this bill? All right? You pass nothing else. You get rid of daylight savings, I'm on your side. All right? But the farmers want it and they control the food. But okay, so I'm sorry. Don't we have some kind of modern technology? Listen, the potheads can grow cannabis in large warehouses with plenty of supply all year round. So what's going on with the farmers? Aren't they farmers too? Yeah. Well, the banks that own the farms control the farms, so maybe I need to talk to the banks. What else? Yeah. Listen. I'm a YouTube nobody. I need the rest of society to rise up. Hell, if we can all do it tomorrow and just don't show up to anywhere. Just boycott everything. Boycott everything. Don't go anywhere. Don't buy anything. Don't eat anything. Don't drive anywhere. Don't buy the gas till we get rid of daylight savings. All right. Yeah,
the farmers don't need it. The hours are the same for them.
And let me find out that it's the farmers holding this stuff up. Whenever you farm, I don't care if I love it. If you're lying getting fucked out of an hour every 6 months, whatever you have, I don't care if it's my favorite, whatever. I'm not eating it. Right? So yeah, we don't need this, all right? We don't need this. We need more time, not less. All right. So when we fall back and we are doing the happy dance because you get some shit back to us that should have never left, that needs to be it. This needs to end. October 2023 needs to be the end of daylight savings. All right. This needs to be a priority for everybody. So don't get happy in October when we fall back. No. Be angry. Get angry. I don't care what you come to my town and you're saying I want you to vote for me. You come to my district, I want to vote for me. I'm going to lower your taxes. I'm going to legalize marijuana. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make gas. I don't want to hear that. Don't want to hear that. Here's what I really need to hear. Are you going to end daylight savings? And yes or no answer. If it's yes, you got my vote. If it's no, I don't even want you to make it to the primary. Just get off the stage. I'll pick somebody out of the audience to run for Congress. This needs to go. It is the dumbest thing ever. Turn forward the clocks. And I feel sorry for those people that have that use the non-digital stuff, man. All right. Lyrica, I was listening to some good songs yesterday. Do you know My Dying Bride, Raven Wings? That's really great. No, but I have a list of stuff that you guys gave me yesterday that I'm going to start listening to. When I get home after being fleeced of my hour. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. There we go. Right there. This is what we need. I need this to trend. All right. I need this to trend. And when you guys, you're going to the ballot box and they put the initiative on there. I don't even think you need an initiative. I think they can just change it. Biden, can't you do this as an executive order? Somebody. All right. Well, like I said, so what is it, 3:00? So right now, you guys on the East Coast, you've already been fleeced, correct? Or have you already been fleeced and stayed? Are you about to get hit?
No, I'm not on the East Coast. I'm Central. I'm about to get hit here shortly.
And you just sit there watching it, and then you turn your head back to your clock or whatever your clock is on, and you just realize it's gone. It's gone for the next 180 days. Like I said, it's like somebody stealing your wallet and running at slow motion, and you can't catch him. Sucks. It's almost 4 now. Yeah. You East Coasters just got robbed. Everybody on the East Coast, how does it feel to have somebody steal something from you and you can't beat their ass? It's like somebody coming in and taking your TV and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm just going to borrow this for 6 months. Bye." I think I'll take 8 Benadryl today. I think I'm going to find out tonight just how many Benadryl I can take before I just can't see straight. Oh, well.
Poor William.
Fuck daylight savings. Fuck the pollen that's destroying my cranial system right now. Fuck Cox cable. I felt for Vinny there because he was squeezing in and out. And at first I thought it was me because usually it is me. Here we're by 1889 Cox cable that I'm paying 2023 money for. All right, I paid for a Ferrari Testarossa engine, and I got a donkey pulling my carriage. That's what I got with Cox. So I think I'm just aggravated because I don't think I'm getting value for what I paid for. I'm not even getting value out of my day. Oh well. Yeah, Cox cable Slipknot. Is it national? Well, no, there's certain states that don't. Indiana and Arizona don't do this shit. So, and I don't know if it's global or not, because I know when I was overseas, when we were in the other desert, I don't think they honored it there too, because it's stupid. All right? I don't think the rest of the world, I don't think this is global. And the people who don't honor this laugh at us. Every time I talk to somebody from Indiana, Arizona, you guys still do that shit? Yeah. And I'm like, how'd you guys get out of it? We voted it down. Okay, well then make it. Vegas, dude. If you're living in a desert, New Mexico, Arizona, Las Vegas, San Bernardino County, any place that's a desert, you should be exempt from daylight savings. All right, I don't know. William Michael B. Jordan was asked about his Superman Zod film, and his publicist said he can't talk about that. No. I think, from what I understand, it's still in production. And him not being able to talk about it probably means that it's in pre-production. All right, $5 super chat from Daniel Martin. Awesome guest, awesome stream, guys. Hopefully, William, you will get your hour back someday. Oh, I know I'm going to get it back. It's going to be in October after I suffer through our pseudo spring that lasts about 18 hours here. See, living in Vegas is cool for a lot of reasons. But when you get to this point of the year, like in Toy Story where the toys are headed towards the incinerator, I know what's coming. All right? I know what's coming, and I know it's unavoidable. I know I'm Woody. I'm all those little toys, and I'm not going to get saved from the incinerator. I'm going to go through the incinerator. I'm going to burn for 3.5 months with a couple of extra hours that I don't need to help me burn. You know, that's why go look at our streams from September all the way up to right around now. I'm a different person. I'm happier. I'm gleeful. I'm less allergy driven. But you know why? Because I've passed the incinerator. Now I'm all crossed up because I know it's coming. And unless I leave Vegas like Nicolas Cage, I just gotta just lay down. I just gotta lay down on the coals and just burn. You know, physically, financially, because keeping the air conditioning going ain't cheap. But anyway, yeah, I'll get my hour back someday after I'm burnt to a crisp. Let's see, the UK changes their clocks too, but at different times. I need the world. I know there's people all over the world that watch the Poindexter, the Japan. I need you guys to put stress on your world leaders. You know what? Back in the 80s, we had USA for Africa. We had Live Aid. We all came together for a good cause. This is a good cause. All right? Don't make me campaign for this stuff. Yeah, we're pretty much 4 minutes, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do my usual deal. Guess what's inevitable, Integrity? Daylight fucking savings, unfortunately. But yeah, so is Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2 and 3. Does Dave's... I guess so. Here's the thing, guys. In order for me to answer that question, I'm city folk. So I would have to actually go into places where to actually be able to answer that question. And I don't do ranches. I don't do farms. I don't do forests. I don't do...
Outside of Vegas, yes, there are ranches, people.
Yeah, so there you go.
But they're not in Vegas.
Yeah.
They're up north of Vegas in the bowl. So
I went camping with a whole bunch of guys with guns and helmets and body armor, and I didn't like it. So I said right then and there, we're not camping no more. I am a child of the city. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there's ranches out here somewhere. You'll never. The closest I'll get to the ranch or a farm is on Google Maps. All right.
You will never find William on a ranch or a farm, okay?
No, because I keep ranches and farms. Here's the thing. My relationship with food begins when it's on my plate or at the supermarket. I don't want to ever see my food alive. All right? Cattle, beef, I don't care. Beef to me is a fat burger. All right? Turkey, I don't want my relationship with the turkey to begin until I'm trying to stuff it into the microwave in November. Right? I don't hunt. I don't trap. I stay away from wild animals. All right? I think that mankind has naturally evolved us away from each other for a good reason. If you get bit by something, you're too close to something. There's coyotes out here. We got coyotes out here. It's the desert, right? But I don't live on the outskirts of town. I haven't seen a live coyote yet. There were rattlesnakes in California, where I grew up. But guess what? I didn't hang out on the dirt roads. Never had a problem. There's bears where I grew up in California. Guess what? The entire time I lived there, never had a bear problem. Why? Because I'm city folk. Me and wild animals have an agreement. We stay the fuck away from each other. All right? These wild animals encounter, every wild animal encounter that goes south can be avoided. Unless it's on TV or Hollywood and it's fake. There's no reason for you to ever come encounter with a goat, a bear, a snake. None of that. None of that. All right? Stay away from the wilderness. All right? I've grown up on horror films, and I've learned nothing happens. Nothing good happens in the woods. Right? Nothing good happens camping. Why are you going to go away from all the resources that can save you? Why are you going to have fun where they bury the bodies? No, you go the other way. Right? The cops can get to you a lot quicker in your house or apartment than they can at Camp Death. So, I don't know, man.
Hey guys, I was
yes,
raised
I am. I am
ranch,
interested in the Scream franchise. I'm just behind on it. I'm just behind.
I was raised on a ranch when I moved back here to the States. So
I don't. What is it? I don't clam and scallop? Oh fuck! No. Oh yeah, I do, Larry. I order clam and I order scallops on the menu. I don't fish. Oh hell no. I don't.
Why don't
fish.
you fish, William?
No, I'm not going out in the water to get food. The fish, I don't want. Why am I going to work that hard to get a fish when if I go right over here to Albertsons, they're already there for you. They're frozen there. They got the eyes. You can see them. You can without going out on the ocean or whatever, and going to get clams. Don't you got to swim down in the lake? No, hell no. It's 2020 now. Back when the Cro-Magnons and the guys had to hunt with spears and you had to get the woolly mammoth. Yeah, that's right. Don't have to do that now. I could be a seafood aficionado or whatever. I don't, like I said, I don't even see my food live. I don't even eat lobsters. I did that one time. That was fucking horrifying. That screaming sound with the steam coming out. I'm like, wow. I don't even care how cute this lobster is. I just watched it die. I am not a predator. I'm not a predator. I don't have that instinct. I don't need to see the food die in my jaws. I'm not a Klingon. I know the Klingon has the stuff that he eats, and it has to be live or it's not good. No, I want all my food dead. That's it. I don't hunt.
You want to be able to believe it came packaged that way, right?
Exactly. Listen, I don't need an adventure of the fish. I'll take your word for it that it was an adventure. I'm here to eat it. All right? I don't do any of this stuff, man. Right? So, like I said, if I could live indoors and just live in a world that was indoors and not have to go outside, I'm okay. Because I came out to Vegas, and when I moved to San Bernardino, I was horrified to see mountains because in LA, it's the city, it's just little buildings. I miss my layer of smog that lined San Bernardino County, man. Clear air. What would I need to see the air through? What else, dude? I should live in a Live Aid. Yes, Live Aid. Get singers and dancers and everybody saying, only you can help us end this madness. I've had octopus. But there's a difference between watching one on Discovery Channel, like coming after you, and then unwrapping it, and taking out its little styrofoam thing.
I've eaten
calamari is great. Calamari is great because you know why? Because it's dead when I get to it.
I've eaten live octopus.
Oh hell no! The Boogeyman saved me. I saw that. It was in 2004. I saw that movie.
What?
That's just a pretty good movie.
Oh, like a Boogeyman. Yeah.
Let's see what we got here for William. What are you going to do if you met a situation where you had to hunt and get die? All right, numbers, die. That's what I'm going to do. Because if I'm in a situation where I have to hunt and gather food, something awful has happened. Worse than anything, right? Just imagine who I am, where I live, and what I'm doing. If William has to go out and hunt and get food, it's already going to end bad. All right? It's like those nuclear things where you shelter and all this other stuff, right? Where they show you if you prepare for this, you'll live. No, all right. If you're at that state of things, it's already over. You're just waiting for your casket. That's it. I will starve and die. Why? Because I'm going to eventually starve and die anyway. Because imagine what has to happen for me to be in that situation. If I'm in the city and I got to go hunt for food, just imagine what has to have happened. If I'm not going to be like Tom, what's his face, on the plane with the volleyball, Tom Hanks, Castaway. No, there's no movie with me. I'm dead. Even if I survived the plane, I'm going to look around. There's nothing to eat. Even if I did it, there's nothing to cook. Probably can't start. I know how to start a fire. I'm probably going to be so morally depressed that I'm in these conditions. I'm like, you know what? Just you know what? Instead of me eating you eat me. Here, how about that? That's where I'll be. So yeah. My answer is I'll probably die. Even with my army skills, I'll be like, fuck this. No hunting. All right, Anthony. All right, William, are you surprised that they announced Rey Mysterio as the first Hall of Famer for WWE and not the last guy so he can be a headliner of the class? I have a huge issue with WWE's Hall of Fame. It makes no sense. It's never made sense. I heard the thing about putting the Great Buddha in there. Great Buddha's never wrestled a second in WWE. All right. And they put guys in there like Sting, who wrestled 14 minutes in WWE. I don't think any promotion should have their own Hall of Fame ever. I don't care how much I love or dislike the promotion. I don't think any promotion should ever have it because it's biased. Because WWE puts people in sometimes based on their story narratives or whatever. They don't put people in based on a Hall of Fame career all the time. All right, because there's some people in the Hall of Fame that are like never wrestled in WWE. So I only think that a neutral organization should ever do that. And that's why, because of silly shit like that. All right, let's see. Yes, it looks like James Gunn. Yes, and it's as it should be. Like I said last night, James Gunn better be directing Superman Legacy. He better be writing it, in my opinion. That is the focal point of this new thing that you're doing. The most important movie of your career up to this point. You better be directing it. And you not every other movie you want to hand off to everybody else, that's good. That's fine. But the Superman Legacy, that is the cog in which this universe revolves around. You need to have your hands on that one. All right, no more wilderness questions, guys. The answer to all your wilderness was what is this? What is that? No, I'm just going to die. All right, I'm just going to die slowly because I'm probably going to have to hunt small little animals that I can't survive on. What do you do with a squirrel? I'll burn that off looking for the next squirrel. Come on, guys. City folk. All right, and you have to know when things are over. In the Army, we had this thing called fixed bayonets. So they taught you how to kill things with a bayonet, right? What's the spirit of the bayonet? Kill, all right? And I'm thinking, back in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, this is bullshit. We're going to die. They tell you to fix the bayonet once you run out of ammo so that you still have a weapon to fight with. Let's think about that. You're out of ammo. Why? Because you shot at multiple targets. If there's still any danger, guess what? That means they probably still got ammo left, and you got about 2 seconds. So as you're running with your bayonet, like Mel Gibson off The Patriot, you just get to die more spectacularly than you would anyway. Okay? That's just a feel-good thing to make your death more comfortable. So yeah, all hunting for me and pick fruit and berries and shit? No. I'll try it, I guess. I'd probably last 8 hours. I'll burn that off and just pass out and not wake up. All right. No, this dude, like I said, I am not a person of, I'm not me being funny. I am not a person of nature. Listen, the government spent thousands of dollars to train me to exist in it, and I could do it if I had to, but it's not going to be pretty. All right? It's not going to be pretty. Just give me the MRE so I can just permanently jam up my system and just die that way. Let's see. The perfect director for Supergirl? Ooh. Denny Villeneuve. What do you think about that for a perfect director for Supergirl, Worlds of Tomorrow?
Who did you say?
I said Denny Villeneuve.
I think maybe Chloe Zhao. I mean,
yeah, that's right.
She's a competent director. I just don't think she's competent for ensemble films. But like for Supergirl, that would be great.
All right, guys, that's going to be the last question because my head is about to explode because I can't even breathe.
We can't have William exploding.
Yeah, not on air at least. All right, so hey, listen, I ended up doing it anyway. I felt like shit the last 20 minutes of it, but you know what? Yeah. I have done what I set out to do. I have shepherded you in from what was March 11th, Saturday, to Sunday, March 12th, minus one less hour. But I did it. All right, so now I get to go home and get kicked in the balls by daylight savings, all by my lunch. We will see you. I don't know. I may, I'll probably get on tomorrow, but these next couple of days, I got Project Ripper going on. I got the Shazam thing going on, so I'm going to actually do a live right out of the theater review of Shazam. It's not a non-spoiler one. If I like it, I'm going to let you guys know. I'm going to be honest with you because I really hope the movie surpasses expectations. I think it's an unfortunate victim of bad management, but I think it's still going to be a really good movie. So, all right, guy, that's it. I have nothing left to give you. I have nothing less to give you minus 1 hour. Say goodbye, Dave.
Goodbye.
All right. Oh, by the way, for those of you who notice, I opened the show with my outro because that's the kind of night I'm having. But I got it right this time. See you on the other side.